Well, we are staying in Lofa County. Like I told you this morning, we are on our way. And, we've been going to towns and villages to interact with the people and disabuse the minds of Liberians that say Lofa County is the stronghold of Joseph Boakai. So, a young man just walked up to me and want to express his dissatisfaction on the speculations in Monserrado County. So let me get your name.
My name is Amara M. Trawale Jr. Many people call me Master Warris, and I'm the chairman and the founder of the movement of the downtrodden youth of Bonjama District.
So, and you walked to me very angry this morning, and what is the reason for that anger that you came to me with?
I'm very desperate, even more than anger, because people sit in Monrovia there and say that this place is already controlled by the Vice President Joseph Boakai. That is a blatant lie. A blatant lie. We the Levians, we are even disappointed over Boakai. We are disappointed in his leadership.
What do you mean you are disappointed? Boakai being a man from Lofa County, and you being from Lofa County, then you say you're disappointed. Why are you disappointed?
And that's the thing, in fact, that we mislead us, because he's from Lofa County, so we should vote him in even if he is not qualified for the position.
You mean Boakai is not qualified?
Well, qualification does not have to only deal with education. He got the education, but the experience to move this country forward, he doesn't have it, because he's been on board for the past 12 years. What he didn't do, you anticipate him to do something more than that? That's the area where the disqualification comes in. I'm not saying that he's not educated, but he is not qualified to move this country forward. And the kind of a conception, the kind of a mind the people have in Monrovia there, they sit and say this place controlled by Joseph Boakai is lie. You know very well, we were in Bakedu yesterday. I'm from Bakedu anyway.
Oh, you're from Bakedu?
I'm from Bakedu anyway, the Kodobone district. You were there yesterday and you saw the kind of momentum. And even when George Weah entered the town a couple of days ago, the entire Bonjama was on fire politically. When Joseph Boakai came, this town was looking like it was even sleeping.
You joking?
I'm not joking. I'm telling you something from the bottom of my heart. I'm a mastercratic leader. I control 315 members of 315 youth in this district. And let me tell you something. Joseph Boakai has no tangibles to point at in Lofa here. If anybody is daring me, let anybody come up and say Joseph Boakai has chicken horse in Bonjama here, not to even talk about building. You understand? You traveled yesterday to Kolahu. Okay, I was even thinking that I said, let the protocol not take the decision for George Weah to go to Fuya, because this guy couldn't come back. And that's the hometown road of Joseph Boakai. You saw the road. How it's horrible, very horrendous. You understand? The road is bad, to say the least. You understand? Charity begins at home. If this man cannot do anything for Lofa, he didn't do anything for Lofa for the past 12 years, what do you expect of him? Let's not be joking here, man. Let's not be joking. The driver can change, but the car will still remain. Oh, Madam Salim, Joseph Boakai, they form in a sea predicament. We can't elect them for another 24 years. What will we be doing? So you want to tell me that the only one that have the brain to run this country?
So you say, what part of Lofa specifically you from?
I'm from Kwaduboni district. Specifically, I'm from Marvin Gonedu. Marvin Gonedu is in the Kwaduboni district. It's one of the renowned towns in the Kwaduboni district. I'm not far from the home of Dr. Edward Bian Kesari, the founder of the Unity Party. Unity Party is for Lofians. But Lofians are tired with the Unity Party. You understand? If the Unity Party could have another driver, maybe the sympathizers of Unity Party could be much. If it had gone another driver. But the driver is still the same.
So you say the Lofa citizens are angry with Boakai because you can't point out any tangible, one single tangible.
Nothing of the sort. You know why? Joseph Boakai is associated with people who have already failed this county.
And who are some of those people?
Even every time he comes here, the incumbent, Honorable Mayanwu Bian Fofana. Honorable Mayanwu Bian Fofana, my own Madingo sister from Kwaduboni district, has failed the district. We were moving up and down behind her to 2011. But now she failed us, and she wants us again to re-elect her. It can't work. Senator George Chengbe on the United Party ticket. Those are the failures that are behind Joseph Boakai. So I'm sorry, he's not going to go anywhere, because the people of Labour County are disenchanted over their leadership. Let not somebody sit down in Monrovia and say Lofa is for Joseph Boakai. you'll be making a very grievous mistake.
So what is your final message to the people? You got hundreds of people all around the world that are looking at you.
This message could go even beyond what we anticipate. You understand? I want this message to go forward. Let it go through the length and breadth of this country, that Joseph Boakai does not have any political control over Lofa County. Lofa is divided over the leadership of Joseph Boakai. You understand? The only thing people can say here in Lofa is that he served as the managing director for LPMC normal days. That's not enough. 24 years in government, I still to be corrected, but I think he has spent more than 24 years in government.
In 40 years.
40 years. What does he want now? Let him go back and build his home. Foyatinga, I think that's the area he's from.
Oh, from Foyatinga.
No road there. No road. You saw the road yesterday.
Very terrible.
No road. So how many years we should sit again for the Bangam and the Kama road to be fixed? We know that Josh Weah is the only option. The alternative choice to political freedom, social, economical freedom in this country, for us to get over this dodging, is not to re-elect any members of the Unity Party. Let us carry Josh Weah. I interacted with Josh Weah yesterday. I saw him. I said, but wait now. There is a man, so common man, like this. It means that when this man is at the executive mansion tomorrow, nobody will be afraid to go around him. You know, I was speaking to him. I said, you know, you were my friend. I'm sorry for that expression. No, but he's so too down to earth. And I'm not seeing a reason why we shouldn't give this leadership to Josh Weah. I don't know why. I don't know why. And this question seems to be very rhetorical. Why can't we elect Josh Weah to liberate us economically?
The people say Josh Weah ain't no book. That's the reason why we're not.
And you know why? I'm an expert in English. That's the reason why they call me Master of Words. When Josh Weah was speaking day before yesterday, because people say those things here and there that he doesn't speak good English, I was standing by his side listening to the final pronunciation of his words. The ED, the SRED, the ZRED, and he got everything intact. This guy is eloquent. Very, very eloquent. Very, very eloquent indeed. I evaluated his speech. Very, very eloquent. Yeah, very, very eloquent. You know, to know that somebody speaks good English, not only the vocabularies, but look at the subject verb agreement, the pronoun antecedent, the cases of the pronouns, and everything was intact. I'm not seeing any politician that can speak with logic right now in Liberia than Josh Weah. Not only the English, but the logic. The logic.
So what is? We are on our way to Bakedu now, and I'm sure you will be with the team.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say to the people of Bakedu?
When we get into Bakedu, you will see the rousing welcome. The ceremony will be very electric. Very, very electric. They can't wait to see George Manuel Weah and Joel Howard Taylor. You understand? It's a let-go ticket. A let-go ticket. You understand? Kwadugoni, you know, people say it's the birthplace of the Unity Party. But the people of the Kwadugoni now, they are disenchanted. They are disappointed, you know, in the leadership of those that are moving the Unity Party forward. If we had another travel other than Joseph Boakai, perhaps we will make an alternative choice. But in this case, Joseph Boakai being...
But why are you so angry with Boakai? Why are you so angry?
He has not done anything for us. No, Abu, you've been here. Has anybody shown you in Fonjama here what Joseph Boakai has done? Look at, we're standing now seeing Zago Hotel over there. Before Zago became senator of this county, he had already made mark. He got tangibles to point at. But Joseph Boakai has not got even the slightest chicken house.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. You know, because to build a chicken house is not difficult. Just for a chicken to sleep. He doesn't have it yet. I know many people will get angry with me over the statement I'm making, but it's the truth. And if you were to interview another person, a logical person, I'm not talking about a fool, because only a fool will support Joseph Boakai. But any logical person will tell you that Joseph Boakai is not a political material to move this country forward, and the people of Lofa have not resolved to carry him. Everybody is divided. You understand? I agree, he got some supporters here, but he does not have an absolute control over this county. So let the people in Monrovia hear that, let the whole world hear it. I wish this thing could be extended on the Facebook, but people even
it's already on Facebook.
It's already people in the diaspora to even hear it. If you're hearing me now on the Facebook, everywhere, every part of the world, I'm telling you that Joseph Boakai is not a solution to Liberia's problem. It's not a solution. You understand?
Yeah.
Let us make an alternative choice. And that choice, brilliantly, is George Manuel Weah. We believe he can move us forward. He has done it in the past. He can do it now, and he can do it in the future. If I continue talking, even the next 2 hours, I will not get tired to disprove the prove the weakness.
This president speaking to you.
Ambassador, I was just telling them that a witness will go on Facebook to tell them that Joseph Boakai does not have control over this place here. And the alternative choice is George Manuel Weah. I'm speaking now, Ambassador Weah is here. Let the whole world hear it. You saw Lopa. Lopa is not resolved over Joseph Boakai. We are disappointed in his leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Abu. That was good talking to you. It was nice talking to you.
Johnson and Johnson. This is good.
All right. Are you guys planning on standing there the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah. You poor things. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again for coming today to discuss this very, very important topic. I just returned from a tour of the Liberia Electric Corporation's facilities on Bushrod Island, as Michael said. I'll be honest, I was both impressed and discouraged by what I saw and heard. LEC's international management has greatly improved LEC's operational readiness and facilities. They were supported by donor funding, and they have the capacity to provide power to Liberians on a consistent basis. Donors like the United States, Germany, Japan, Norway, and the European Union have contributed to more than 15,000 new connections over the last 3 years and project to connect another 160,000 households and businesses over the next 2. But as we all know, reliable, consistent electricity supply is not the reality for most Liberians. We just celebrated the end of our Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact earlier this year and the complete rehabilitation of the Mount Coffee hydropower dam. That compact was a $257 million 5-year effort to support Liberia's development, especially its power sector. Our goal in that effort, and in every effort we make here, is to support the Liberian people. Every person in every county, not just those living in Monrovia, and not just the elite or those serving in the government. Now, imagine the concern the EU, the Germans, the Norwegians, the Japanese, and other donor countries, as well as my colleagues in Washington, D.C., have when we continue to see issues in the power sector so soon after the investment of hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, in this sector's development. The first main message I want to communicate to you here today and to all Liberians, which was well reinforced by our visit to LEC's Bushrod facility, is that electricity generation, transmission, and distribution is extremely expensive. Utilities around the world invest large sums in infrastructure, operations, and maintenance in order to keep keep the lights on, and they receive a very low return on investment. Liberia's power sector is no different, except that Liberia's power sector is losing money every day. Take, for example, the Mount Coffee hydropower dam, the largest source of power in Liberia. Through the Millennium Challenge Compact, the people of the United States provided more than $150 million to rehabilitate that power plant. That was a grant. It was not a loan. It was a gift that Liberia never has to pay back. To make that investment in Liberia's future sustainable, proper maintenance must be funded. A lack of commitment will result in much larger sums of money needed to restart and rebuild the hydro plant again later. And there's no guarantee of where that money would come from. In addition to the capital investments, it is very expensive to run an electric utility. LEC needs staff, engineers, and customer service representatives. It needs facilities like the one we toured today. It needs wires, poles, trucks, and meters to make sure that the electricity generated reaches your home and is safe to use. All of that costs money. Nowhere in the world, nowhere is electricity free. I pay an electric bill when I'm home in the United States. As Mr. Twed said last week, Liberia is no different. If you want electricity, you must pay for it. Nobody has ever promised free electricity to the people of Liberia. That brings me to my second message. More than half of all the electricity that the LEC generates is not paid for. More than half. And each connection that isn't generating revenue is a step towards the collapse of the electric grid that we worked so hard to construct. I want you to look at this chart over here, now and later. You're looking at the total electric supply, which has been steadily increasing since 2015. Now, the green is the amount of supply that was properly sold and paid for by LEC customers. The gold, that's the amount of electricity that is either lost to unpaid connections, both commercial and household, or to technical issues. There is always going to be some loss for technical issues. That's natural. Now, as you can see, about 2/3 of the electricity being generated by LEC does not result in revenue. Without that revenue, how can LEC fix the technical issues? How can they quickly respond to power interruptions? How can they continue to connect more of Liberia to the power grid? LEC is a public government-owned utility which produces regular reports on operating status. In its latest report, the LEC reveals that it has not been current in its bills for years. And that's not because it's wasting money. I believe the current international management team, which until very recently was paid for by the Millennium Challenge Corporation, has been running LEC as professionally and efficiently as possible. The reality is that no utility anywhere in the world can survive where less than half of its electricity is paid for. And LEC is no exception. If LEC can't resolve this power theft issue, it will continue to weaken financially, become even more dependent on government financing. And reduce reliability in operations. This would in turn have a serious impact on the economic development of this country, which depends on reliable electricity, just like any other country, to attract new investments and grow the economy. That is the level of seriousness we are facing. Now, I understand that the electricity tariff in Liberia is expensive. In 2020, Liberians paid 49 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity. For comparison, Americans pay an average of around 13 cents per hour. Ghanaians spend an average of 6 cents. Guineans pay an average of 10 cents. And Ivorians spend an average of 12 cents per kilowatt hour. Why are Liberians paying 4 or 5 times more for less reliable electricity? The answer is that because for each person that illegally connects to a power line, they are making everyone else underwrite the cost of power and making it harder to reduce the cost for those who do pay. They're also making all connections less reliable, which will lead to even more maintenance issues down the road. The only way to reduce the cost of electricity is for every LEC customer to be properly connected and to pay their full electricity bills. Which brings me to my third message. I call on every electricity user in Liberia to pay their bills in order for the power sector here to survive. We are passing out LEC's mid-year briefing to all of you in attendance today for your reference on this situation. As you will see, the first culprit here in this report are those businesses in Liberia who are hooking up illegally to power. Businesses use the most electricity, and those who are not properly paying LEC for the power used are risking their complete shutdown and the possibility that their own businesses will collapse if the power fails. The second culprit is individuals who get an illegal connection for their homes. If you're not using a connection with a meter that is legally installed by an LEC employee, then you are partly to blame for this situation. And you lose your right to complain when your power goes out or when you can't run your fan or charge your phone. The third problem area, and it troubles me to say this, is the government of Liberia. The government of Liberia is the largest customer of LEC, and it is often behind in its payments. In addition, there have been zero, not a single one, zero convictions of businesses or individuals for power theft. Considering the widespread nature of this issue, how can this be? It's not enough to say that the power theft situation is complicated or that it's hard to fix. In order to protect our investments and your future, and to set Liberia on the path to opportunity, we need to see action. Payment of electricity bills, prosecutions, convictions, and frankly, we need to see substantial sentences and fines for power theft. This needs to be a systemic focus. Nothing will improve without a strong response across the judicial system, supported at the highest levels of the Liberian government. In his speech commemorating the delivery of electricity to Peace Island, President Wheeler said the same thing. And that's my fourth message for you today. I ask the Liberian government and the people to take power theft more seriously. Having invested so heavily in the power sector here, it's not too much for the US government to ask that the Liberian government do more to protect our investments and its own power sector. We've been told by multiple sources that there is a well-organized electricity theft cartel that benefits well-connected businesses and even government officials. We know that some LEC investigators trying to fix this problem have been harassed by some representing themselves as security officials. This is absolutely unacceptable. As major investors in Liberia's power sector, we call on government officials to do everything possible to stop this corruption and prosecute the perpetrators, no matter how important they may be. To sum up this situation, the LEC has lost $220 million in the last 5 years alone to technical and commercial losses and unpaid bills. That is money that could have been spent increasing the grid to provide electricity access for all. In fact, put another way, those who steal from the LEC are not robbing a deep pockets corporation. No, they are stealing from the pro-poor agenda. That's who they're stealing from. So why is the US ambassador sharing this information with you today? Why? Because we care. We care about the development of Liberia and its people. And corruption and power theft are standing in the way of that development. The United States has spent more than $1 billion, billion with a B, and I printed it out because sometimes I forget what a billion is. A billion is $1,000 million. I used to think it was $10 million. It's $1,000 million. The United States has spent more than this just in the past decade only on the power sector in Liberia. So of all the money we spent over $1 billion in 10 years on the power sector. That's American taxpayer money. The money that the government spends comes from taxpayers. They aren't donations. They're paid because the law tells us we have to pay income taxes. Every American you see in Minnesota, in Georgia, in Texas, that is their hard-earned money being invested in your development. How can we continue to justify that generosity when more than half the power generated by that system is permitted to be stolen and with no consequences? Addressing and fighting corruption is a top priority for the Biden-Harris administration, and we are acting on this priority. In June, President Biden named corruption a core national security interest of the United States. In a White House statement, he said that corruption eats away at the foundations of democratic societies. It makes governments less effective, wastes public resources, and exacerbates inequities in access to services, making it harder for families to provide for their loved ones. Corruption attacks the foundations of democratic institutions. drives and intensifies extremism and makes it easier for authoritarian regimes to corrode democratic governance. Corruption is a risk to our national security, and we must recognize it as such. Weeks ago, President Biden announced the Summit for Democracy, which will bring together established and emerging democracies, civil society, and the private sector in December. The three principal themes are defending against authoritarianism, promoting respect for human rights in our own nations and abroad, and of course, fighting corruption. Liberia is fortunate to be the oldest republic in the continent of Africa, with a sound system of democratic institutions. So today, we are focused on fighting pervasive corruption, respecting the rule of law, treating every person with dignity, and championing opportunity for all. The United States and Liberia have a long and enduring relationship, and we plan on keeping it that way. Liberians sometimes refer to the United States as their big brother. But since we're 245 years old and you guys are 174 years old, I prefer to say that we are old partners. And neither of us is perfect. But sometimes true partners, real partners, need to deliver tough messages. And that's why we're here today. Corruption prevents progress, and we are in the business of building futures together. To circle back to the Mount Coffee hydropower plant, it was built in the 1960s with U.S. assistance. After Liberia's terrible civil conflicts, we, the Germans, and other donors, rehabilitated that plant to become the incredible power generator that it is today. Today, Mount Coffee is the country's most valuable fixed asset, #1 in the country. We want to help you keep your lights on, your businesses running, your schools in session, and your clinics open. We think Liberians want that too. But that will take a commitment against the corruption of power theft from each and every Liberian, from the government down to each of you. We urge you to do what is right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. So, if you have any questions, you can just raise your hand and recognize you. We call your name and the institution you form and pose your question. Remember to remain within the confines of the topic. Debbie.
Thanks again, Mr. Ambassador. My name is Betty Johnson Bayo of the Stage Media. I would like to ask you 2 questions. One is that comparing what you saw at the facility and what has been spent, is it much? Can we say that the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. is frustrated by what I'm seeing at your tour today? And the second one is let me just get it straight. I wrote it down. Okay, great. So, there's a power theft law, and I would like to ask on how do you think such law can be more effective wherein we do not have such losses in years to come? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Betty. Actually, it's good to start by saying that what we saw in Bushrod was really heartwarming and very impressive. What they've done with the resources that they found when they came back to resurrect the power industry here. They have done everything at a level of where, as much as possible, the utility has sold scrap that can't be used anyway, that was just lying around. So in cleaning up that facility, they assembled the scrap and then they sold the scrap, and with the money that they earned, they rehabilitated buildings. It's really quite impressive, the work they've done with using very few resources at the facility. As far as the overall investment in the whole country, I think it's easy to forget that the entire network, where it existed, and it didn't even used to, I don't believe it ever covered the whole country, but every part of that system was taken apart during the troubles. They took the wires down to sell. They tore the towers down to sell. They sold transformers. Some of the infrastructure actually left the country. So it is a daunting task. They're really, the way LAC feels is this isn't really a rehabilitation of the power system. It's more of a startup. It's almost more like starting from zero. That's how they feel. So today I was very impressed. But it makes me a little more depressed because I see these professionals doing so much and working so hard to make this work, and then to think that 50% of the customers are not paying for what they're taking. That's very frustrating. And how can such a law be improved or changed? Well, I'll just finish the second question, is that, you have to start somewhere. And there have been 0 convictions. I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe once you start getting people convicted and sentenced and actually in jail, then maybe people will start to take this seriously. But I go back to that other line. People think they're stealing from a wealthy corporation, and they don't understand the ramifications of what they're doing. When they steal, they're not stealing from a wealthy corporation. They're stealing from the poorest of the poor who will never get electricity because the grid can't be expanded.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. Joaquin Sendolo is my name. I report for the Daily Observer newspaper. I think your investigation has unveiled some things that even government officials and some other people benefiting from this power thefting because they are not paying their quota and so forth as it's supposed to be. But my question is, what consequence does Liberia stand to face from you, the donors, if the trend of events surrounding power theft and corruption continues?
It's a great question, and thank you for that. I mean, I think it just follows logically that if we're taking all this money from taxpayers and the result is that people in Liberia are living for free, eventually our Congress will say, okay, we're not going to appropriate any more money to that project. So I think, and I think all of the donor countries feel the same way, I would assume. So the danger is that the donations will stop.
Let me take Dennis.
Okay, I think the question was.
Okay. Yeah, so let's take front page.
Yeah, my name is Gerald Koyinen. I write for Front Page African newspaper. Mr. Ambassador, you expressed frustration over the government failure of prosecuting those involved in this act.
Getting pretty much since I got here 7 months ago about the problem with electricity theft. Certainly for the last 3 months, we've been bringing it up regularly in just about every meeting with government officials who are in ministries related to power. You asked whether we'd be willing to contribute to systems that will make it easier to control power theft.
Yeah.
I believe that there's, the LEC is looking at technical fixes, and I think other donors, including the World Bank, are considering options. But I can't answer whether we'd be willing to fund any such systems. What I can tell you is we'd be very unlikely to fund any such systems if the government's not going to prosecute anybody. And the last thing was about the management.
Yeah.
I think the management has really done a commendable job considering where they started. And I think everybody involved in the management looks forward to the day when Liberians will be running everything with Liberians. But for now, I think it's probably best to get through some complicated issues, and someday soon the management structure will move over to domestic management.
Good.
Sorry?
You take that.
Yeah, so we actually plan to take 3 institutions, but
You take 2 more.
with your permission, okay, then Dennis, you can go ahead.
Yes, I'm Dennis Nipson, I report for Joe FM. There's this question I want to ask. You made mention of cartel, some cartel that have been formed in terms of the power theft. Do the American embassy tend to name those that are part of the cartel, as done in time past, that when someone is caught in any act, you are noted for publishing names of those officials?
No, we don't feel that that's our lane. You have a Ministry of Justice here, you have police, the LEC has inspectors, so that's really not in our lane. It's just that we have heard consistent stories about the existence of such a cartel. And the way I feel is, if I'm hearing about it, if it's that pervasive, then it probably wouldn't be that hard for someone who really wants to come down on it to get some evidence and take action. So,
Okay, so I need.
Yeah. Mr. Ambassador, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Haji Masale, I report for Spoon TV, Spoon FM. We visit customers on a regular basis. They tell us that whenever the meter go faulty or they have problem with their system, they report to LEC and LEC don't respond. Sometimes some communities go off for almost a year, and that could cause some losses to the system. Have you identified that, and what will you put forward in order for LEC to respond in time whenever there is breakdown?
I would say 2 things to that. Number one, I believe LEC recognizes that they have some challenges, which is one reason why they just rehabilitated. We also funded the rehabilitation of the Waterside Customer Service Center. They've modernized the center so that they can track complaints better. So they know it's a challenge, and they're committed to working hard on that issue. But see, I would say concurrently, how much can they work on that problem when 50% of the revenue is not being paid? So it's sort of like the harder they run, the slower they go, because they're trying to make up for all these customers who aren't even really customers. So I guarantee you that if more people paid, LEC would concurrently do a better job of customer service. Those 2 go hand in hand.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much today for coming today. Thank you, Ambassador. Appreciate it. Please stick around because I have the remarks and other things planned after you.
The U.S.
Thank you all
Ambassador
very much.
to the Liberia, and my name is Haji Masale. We say thanks for watching. You've been watching a short press conference by the U.S. Embassy here.
Viva, 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 le dica me potrebbero la lua, viva! Viva! Viva, 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 il papero a torno a lui, viva! Viva!
Thank you very much. Please have your seat. Yeah, hello. So to the leaders, elders, very thanks for this morning. To our young people, the future of Liberia. To our women, the backbone of Liberia. To all of you, thanks for coming this morning. So the reason why I'm here is just this. Today I'm going to be visiting various communities within District 13. Just to introduce myself, to say hi to the people. That's why the visits are quick. We have many communities to visit today. You know, a lot of people have heard the name Alexander Cummings. Some people maybe see on Facebook or on TV and on radio. But there's nothing like seeing the person in person, right? Some people, when they hear my name, when they see me, they expect a big man. And then when they see me, they see a small man, right? So today, I just here to say your hard work, just to come and visit with you, again, introduce myself, and just to remind the Liberian people that we can do better as a country. That our country is too rich for us to be so poor, for us to be suffering the way we are. And that we have to change Liberia so that everybody can benefit. Too few people are benefiting from the resources of our country. Most of the people in our country today, they don't have running water, they don't have electricity, they don't have good schools, they don't have good hospitals, good clinics, and it shouldn't be that way. We can change our country, but you know, I always say we can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. We gotta do things differently. That means we have to select and elect different kind of leaders if we want Liberia to change. If we keep doing the same thing, electing the people with the same experiences, Liberia will not change. And I want to work with the Liberian people so we can change our country so that everybody can benefit. And so, again, this is a quick visit. We'll come back and we'll spend more time in Chocolate City. But again, I want to thank all of you for your presence here this morning. It's a Friday morning. People are busy working, hustling for the weekend. The fact that you're here, I'm very grateful. Again, we appreciate you. We'll come back, spend more time, take the questions. But for now, thank you very much. God bless you and God bless everyone. Thank you very
much. All right, let us put our hands together for the honorable. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to call on the chairman himself, Mr. Daniel H. Bramiel, who now will come for special remark.
So folks, you're watching Front Page Africa. You're watching Front Page Africa here live, and we'll bring you live. But we're here in Chocolate City. That's the ANC big man, and Alexander Cummings is here as part of his weekend, his normal weekend activity. So touring the old District 13, and is the beginning of the tour that's beginning with Chocolate City. So speaking now is the chairman of the Chocolate City community.
1, 2. Where you are now, it is the only community with a city status. So enjoy the rest of the chocolate in this community and rest assured that you are at home. On behalf of the Elder Council, on behalf of the executive members of the community, on behalf of the youth wing, the women and children, and the entire population of Chocolate City, we want to take this time to wholeheartedly welcome you to around Chocolate City for the first time. This is my first encounter with you, sir, face to face. And we are delighted that indeed you can select Chocolate City as one of your first quick visitation places and whatsoever as you're passing through. Sir, you just heard it from the pupils, one of the pupils here explaining some issues here. This is the largest community infrastructure team. We're talking about pretty close to 40,000 residents. And the audience for that matter, we have a lot of challenges in terms of women wanting to do their business, whatsoever it is, and they are not capacitated financially. And then in terms of loan, oh yes, we are here. Students in terms of scholarship, job management, as the child said, some of the guardians and whatsoever it is. Some schools have helped them, to mend them up. We have the issue of bridges. Major link of bridges, in Chocolate City. But you go there now, as I speak to you, even the one that was here, learning and job management with plans and whatsoever. Since 1990, the portion of the Liberian Civil War, this community is out of order. Electricity, struggling, and EDC over and again. And you know why it is in our current dispensation when it comes to electricity. As we speak, only community cleaning that we have is not electrified. Imagine we use, flashlight and whatsoever to deliver and whatsoever. There's about few challenges that we have. We have our community hall, where we have our representative, but then our doors open to all of everybody. So we want to express our delight, and we said we will come back again for us to talk with them. But consider, as we said, there is a home, always welcome. Take the message home that indeed we are open up to you. Thank you. Our black leaders are here, representing the elders are here. The crucial time we will come with us sitting around the table so we can discuss the issue. Thank you so much on behalf of the residents again. I want to express our delight of having you here. Graciously we say.
Thank you very much. From my own side here as the MC today, I would like to appeal. Like the Honorable said, we've been hearing, going on Facebook, radio stations, and now see him in person. And the first day to see him is in hurry, in a Liberia way. So we appeal that Honorable, you will take the time to come that we know you better, we interact, and the way we want it. Because to make somebody to be who you want them to be, you must know them. So we beg you, we should not, they can't afford just tasting like this and start looking for you all over the place again. We want to be on Facebook looking for you there. We want to see you like this because we got plenty of things to talk, the Liberia way. We got plenty of things to talk. Thank you very much. So at this time, we now call Mother Canley, who will come and do for us our vote of thanks and benediction. Mother, please, you are welcome.
In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, we want to take this time to say again, thank you. At a very short notice, all of us were able to gather here this morning to see for some of us the first time. For some people, they have been seeing the photos, but to see in person, he said that short men can be looking long in the photo. So we want to say, Honorable, thank you too for coming. As my husband said earlier, this place is that we broke protocol. Ever since, for years, it's been used as community hall. So every political gathering or any political leader that come, they just got to come here. So tomorrow, if another person comes, we will welcome you. So that's our own community obligation, social responsibility. So we want to say welcome. But please look up here. You might put up things, look here. This is the proposed building. And we not say we want money. But the roof here, they have it for the foundation. So If you look around, we started a new foundation. So y'all can come next time with that elevator in the building. Maybe that time you'll be president. But now you're not your president, you won't be president, you got to sow your own seed. I'm talking about mother now. You can't in church, you got to sow seed. So you can sow seed, we'll cry right, you can sow seed. We'll still wrong, you can sow seed. That the one we want now, cement. We're ready for the seed here. But you got to sow your seed. Get into God, empty hand. So sow seed, by bringing steel up, we'll continue the foundation, we'll build it up so that the next time you come, it will be a very fine, beautiful church building. Thank you. Shall we rise? In Jesus' name, Bishop Kuhn Polytechnic students said they wanted to say something, that they don't want doing the battle cry. We'll thank you the time. So I think I saw you talking about one of the coordinators you can give your. Oh, they're not even waiting for our way. Yeah.
The coordinator will not relay it to Mr. Cummings.
Yes.
He got somewhere else to go.
Yeah, we have a vocational school here. So thank you. Say you talk with the coordinator, he will help. We have a vocational school here, so the students from there, they wanted to talk with you, but they will talk with it. Myself, so one of my men here, we're working together in Capital Building. Mobile and I have been Capital Building for years. So welcome. Shall we bow our heads? Father, I want to say thank you for our son, our brother, our father, our friend. Thank you, oh God. You know his desire for Liberia. And it's only you knows who you will bring to us and who you will give to Liberia. Father, we pray, oh God, that according to your will, let it be done for Liberia. This time we don't want to be the one to select, but you select for us. We pray for him even as he come here and will be moving around. We pray for safety. We pray against accident. We pray against confusion. We pray, oh God, that all his plans will come to reality. In Jesus' name we pray. God bless you. Go in peace.
Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. Vic, how you doing?
I'm great.
Once a vice president is always a vice president.
Sure.
I know. Okay, first let's hear from you. Since you left the vice presidency, what have you been doing with your private life?
I'm a farmer. I have my farm, and beside that I have a foundation that has been helping to give relief, to seek support, providing medical facilities, and working with schools and organizations. I've been quite busy.
Been quite busy. Now, are you still in contact with your former boss, the former president of the Republic of Liberia?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Please go close to the microphone.
Yes, sure. I'll talk with her.
And how's the relationship like?
From my end, I consider it good because, I mean, we never had a bad relationship, and I speak to her, I visited her, and so there's nothing bad between us as far as I know.
But from her end, because when you say from my end, it means that probably there's something.
Well, because when you talk about a relationship, it's two ways. I talk to her, I visited her, and I know when we meet, we speak frankly, so I don't think I have any qualms with that.
Is visitation, is it frequent? Do you see
Well,
it
it's not regular, it's not frequent because we are all busy. She is in and out of the country, and at this time in our country, everybody's busy, and because of the COVID, people don't go around very much.
Okay.
But we keep in contact as and when we can.
Are you following the case involving Brani Samukai? Yes, I can remember you were talking to Lofakane over Cool Bangalow. And unfortunately, he's now being embroiled in serious legal uncertainty. Are you following that?
Of course, on a daily basis, yes, I do.
So, what's your feelings about that? Somebody whose hands, in fact, you lifted and you expected that person today would have won. Unfortunately, he's still, involved in, that legal hurdles.
I wasn't involved in Brano Samuka being knowledgeable that Brahmana Samuka will at some point in time be subjected to what he's been subjected to. We went with Brahmana Samuka believing that he was the best candidate and he would have won.
The best candidate.
And of course, we consulted the legal people, and they assured us that there was nothing wrong with his participation in the process. And he won. So we did what we were supposed to have done. Now, whatever comes after that are things that maybe he probably will answer for himself, and then we follow the process.
If you were to advise him, being a father, elderly man, a statesman, if you were to advise him with the sort of legal hurdles he finds himself in, would you have advised him to just back off and call his supporters and say, look, let me thank all of you, but let me leave now because I can't continue to be...
I suppose I wouldn't, because I think within the country, everything that we get involved to set a precedent. It teaches a lesson. It shows the strength of our democracy, the rule of law. So it's an exercise that we'll follow and see how it ends, because Brownie Samuka probably might be the first, but he won't be the last, and we know that subsequent issues of that nature might come about. But I continue to make sure that the process goes on with his involvement. He hasn't come to the point where he says, I'm no longer in it, so I wouldn't advise him to do that.
But do you see what he's going through? Why he's going through? Is it justified?
Well, I can tell you the best steel goes through the hardest fire. Maybe it wasn't Brownie Samuka, it wouldn't have been what it is, but I think for himself, he hasn't come to the point where he would tell me, this is too much, I'm no longer in it, until he says that we are with him.
Now the question I ask, whether you think it's justified, or the legal uncertainty that he has hanging on him now?
Well, we live in a country, it should be a country of law, and if the legal people think that this is a process and we expect that it's fair, we'll follow up with it, because I cannot sit here and say it's not a justifiable process, but I think at the end of it, we will prove ourselves to our country and to the world whether we are serious about the rule of law when we say it.
Now, the opposition bloc, Mr. Former Vice President, it's really riddled with infighting and internal wrangling. If you went into your CPP, they see more internal wrangling. You went to the LP, that's the Liberation Party, People Liberation Party, the same noise, Liberty, the same noise. What do you think is happening? What's the source of all this?
Our democracy, we an old country, but I think you know very well that the proliferation of political parties the political interest of the people have been aroused over a couple of years, and everybody wants to get a taste of it. And so people are involved. And also, the society is of such that everybody get involved into everything. So either by the players themselves or by their supporters, you will continue to hear noise. You will hear noise from people from different angles, from the advisors. But this is the process of democracy, and we are in it.
The noise that is obtaining, the people hearing about in the CPP, it's getting to be a longer-standing political standoff between you and Cummins. What's the situation?
I don't think it is. There's no standing between me and Cummins. There are issues that we need to discuss. There are issues that need to be brought to the forefront that we all should talk about. And I believe when we came together as a collaboration, we didn't come together to fight. We came together believing that all of us could work together for the betterment of this country. And at some point, I would believe that issues that among us should be discussed among us and come up, because we are not rivals. At least that's not the impression with which we came. So the way in which issues have been going out there is not the way that we had expected, because we should be a team, and a team should discuss, a team should meet and discuss issues that will make them look like they're working together.
But the impression that the public is getting is that you people are not meeting, you people are not talking. I can remember there's a meeting held or convened last week, and Cummins walked out of the meeting because you didn't have agenda.
It is not true. It is not true that there wasn't an agenda. There's no meeting without an agenda. He had disagreed to an issue that shouldn't have been that way. If you want to know, we got together for whatever meeting is called. There is an agenda. You're going to go discuss something. And the first agenda was to introduce people that we had appointed, including himself Cummins, to investigate the issues of the framework document. And as soon as we called the people in, he had a disagreement that we didn't have the authority to call the people, that it was another entity within the CPP that was supposed to do, and we disagree on that, because we felt that we, the political leaders, were the one who nominated the people, including himself, and that we were the ones who were supposed to invite them. And upon that, he walked out. So the matter that we are 4 political parties that came together and agreed to work together, I think it should be so simple that when we have an issue, we sit together and resolve the issues. Walking out doesn't show too much of willingness to work as a team.
Now, what happened in the CPP? Your critics could describe it as just simply greed, that's all.
I don't say greed. It's a process by which the participants are saying we have to come up with a process through which we can get a candidate that will lead the process. You already heard there are 4 political parties, 2 of which have said we feel no candidate. That's not greed. That is agreeing to a process. So if 2 that remain are aware that the other 2 are not willing to field a candidate, then there's a process that is going on. And so I don't think that is greed. That is a process that is acceptable, that 2 of the 4 say they are not fielding candidate, So the two that remain that want to field candidate should be willing to do so.
So it means that the coalition may not understand.
I shouldn't say so because the intent was for it to stand, and we are in a process. We haven't got to that yet.
Because, and are you worried, Mr. Former Vice President, that what is happening is telling negatively on the parts of the opposition bloc, which consider itself a government in waiting?
Yes, when you come together for a purpose and you come to the point where everything that you work towards, things that can be handled within the agreement are out in the media in a negative way, there's a reason for those who believe in you to say, well, I don't think these people are willing to work together. Our duty is to continue to ensure that we come back to the table and make the process work.
So how do you ensure that you come back to the table? Because the impression now that you are giving the electorate is that this is PP. Apparently it's not a serious coalition that we should put our votes behind, because here they are, they can even agree over who becomes their leader.
We haven't come to that yet. The process that we're on is quite well laid out in the framework document, and the process is on course, not until we come to the point where we decide we cannot agree to it. All of what is happening are processes along the way. So we ask the public to please be patient, make sure that we get back to the table to decide a way forward.
Now, what it will cost you, Mr. Former Vice President, Ambassador Joseph Boycott, if we decided in the morning that, look, let me go second to commies?
I don't think I can get to that point.
Why?
I can tell you definitely that I've served my role as a second, and it is not, again, my calling to be second.
It's not your calling to be second. So this time around you want to be first.
That's right.
So if it means that if commies does not agree, what happens?
We didn't say that if one person, if there are two people, and one of them decide not to go second, we said within our set structure, there's here an option to get a second person, not necessarily the next person. So Cummings or I, we have an option whether you want to be second or not.
We are getting reports that if the coalition or the disagreement still persists between you and commies, you're going to choose the political leader of the Liberal Party, Yomli Kanga, as your running mate.
We haven't got to that yet. We haven't discussed any of these issues.
But I'm sure you're thinking about that.
They all remain possibilities. Everybody in the coalition is a member of the coalition and competent to play whichever role they want to play.
But I'm sure you're thinking about that.
Well, if we come to that, well, it's not a bad option, but we're not there yet.
What do you think, Mr. Former Vice President, that you do have the political credentials more than that of commies? What do you think, sir?
It's not obvious to you that I've been vice president for 12 years. It's not obvious to you that I have served in many capacities in this country. It's not obvious to you that with my knowledge and experience, that it's about time that I excel to another level, and the only level that is left is to be the president of this country? I mean, I believe so. I believe so. If Cummings doesn't believe, it's his right not to believe. But it's my right to believe that I need to move to the next level.
So in another word, you are saying that you do have the the answers to the problems of this country than that of commies.
Definitely. I mean, in many of the ways, not single-handedly, but I'm capable. I know how to build a team because I've been through it. I know how to do a lot of things, and I know what the Liberians need in this country with my experience in many of the areas I have served. So I do believe that at this point in time, I can lead this country.
In other words, you can do anything. If even commies doesn't agree to go along with you, you can choose anyone.
If I become the head of the ticket, it is an option to make sure that someone within the coalition will become number two, not necessarily commit.
Possibly Nyamli.
He is also a possibility. She is.
She's a possibility.
Yes.
Now, what is it that you want to do, Mr. Former Vice President, differently that you didn't do some 12 years back while you were Vice President?
I like the way the question is always asked. Now, you say as Vice President, and what would I do as President?
Yes, different.
You think both of them are the same?
They should be.
You're asking what will you do as a tailor that you couldn't do as a carpenter? Are they the same?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, because you know the Constitution of Liberia. The Constitution says the Vice President presides over the Senate without a vote, except there's a tie. I presided over the Senate. There was never a tie that I had to break. The second description of the role of the Vice President in the Constitution to assist the President. Now, to assist the President, does that mean to you that you can go and build a highway, or that you can go and put a hydro, or you can go and negotiate out of the country for... That's not the role. That's the role of the President. So are they the same? To always ask, what could you have done? And when I went on radio to say, if you want to see a race car, put it on the racetrack. Isn't that where a race car is supposed to be? Is it supposed to be in a garage? As Vice President, you are to assist the President. To assist the President means the President is willing for you to assist him or her. Do you have the rights of the President? No. Are you going to act as a President without causing chaos? You know that. So why is the question of not doing what the President should have done as a Vice President, and what can you do when you become the President? They are not the same.
Did you in a way, maybe serving as Vice President, did you, maybe in some instances, recommend it to your boss, the former President Ellen Johnson, said to say, look, let's do this. And unfortunately...
Oh, yeah, sure. Certainly I did.
What instance can you cite for us?
I sure one. Okay, for example, there was a time I told the President that we should put at least 5 cents on every gallon of petroleum products that come to this country, and that money will be placed in escrow for the maintenance of road and perhaps even for education. And the President, of course, that was a suggestion. He had the right to accept it or not. And I remember we had the young professionals who used to advise us every 2 weeks. And to be very specific, it was Judy Moore. And that day, Judy reported that they had been in a sub-region and seen how the other countries were laying funds aside to maintain their road. That Liberia was the only country that didn't have such a process. And he ended up, and on that day, Anthony Kesley was with me. And he said, Madam President, we are suggesting that you put 5 cents on every gallon of petroleum product that come to this country for road maintenance. And she looked at me, and I said, I told you that 5 years ago.
Mm.
What do you do?
Now, but do you think that, because often you tell your supporters that you were just, an old car parked in the garage?
That's not what you understand. A race car is not an old car.
Okay.
A race car is a car to race.
Now, but do you think you were constrained, you were forced to have kept yourself in that position?
But I did a lot of other things. So I did a lot of other things. You saw more than 28 vehicles parked before the mansion. Who brought them? I brought them. You saw motorcycles here. You saw fire trucks. You saw medical supplies. I did the things I could have done without harm to my relationship. I did a lot of peace programs. The ERWA land, I made sure that land, we harmonized it with SIM. I also made sure that even the case between Chris Tarr and the judiciary, all of that was settled in my house. I made sure that many of the crises around the country, including the president herself, had problem with the Senate. I took them to the Chinese hotel there to settle. I did a lot of the things I could do without disturbing the relationship. That was my job. My job was not to act as number one, was to support the president. Assist her when she would allow me to do so. But those are issues that I dealt with. They were not the president doing them. I was doing them to support the president and to keep peace and harmony in this country.
Do you regret serving on Madam Sirleaf as a vice?
Not at all.
Why?
I played my role, and Madam Sirleaf will tell you not one day that we had any problem, and I won't tell you one day that Madam Sirleaf did not respect me. She did not respect the role. I represented this government, the Sirleaf government, 3 years at the UN. I spoke, and she went there 3 times during our first term. I was serving my country the best way I could. That's the responsibility I had.
Why didn't she support your presidential bid then?
Shouldn't that be something that you should ask her? It's not me.
It's not you?
No. I told you what I did, and I told you how it would work. And it remains with her to tell you why she did what she did.
You're listening to the Bumper Show, rated on the OBC 99.9 and other frequencies across Liberia. My studio guest is the former president of the former vice president, rather, of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Yuba Boyka. He's my guest right here. I'm sure the lines are blinking already. You guys, rest assured, I open the lines for you so that you interact with him. He's here already. Now, I can remember a government's delegation went to the U.S. and you made a statement that the delegation was meeting cowboys and not those the delegation went to meet. But then suddenly the cowboys turned into congressmen. Did you regret the statement you made?
Well, so I don't think I should be going into that because we all know the truth. We all know what happened. We know the delegation went. The intent of it was to meet certain people. They met those people or not. We passed that stage. We laid that to rest, whether they met drivers or they met legislators. But I can tell you, anybody who leaves Liberia and who has the chance can meet Linda Thomas Greenfield because she feels very close to Liberia. Meeting Linda is a friendly meeting. Other meetings, whether that's what you went there for, I think it's left with the delegation. I have heard my say, and I'm through with that.
And you regret what he said?
I didn't regret. I said it. And if you say something and someone says that they didn't like what you say, I think it's only polite to tell them, okay, I'm sorry.
What's your take, Mr. Ambassador, about the performance of this administration?
I can tell you that we know more could have been done if the administration had wanted to. It is known that the administration has a lot of shortcomings, but those shortcomings are normal challenges to any administration. The fact of the matter is that when you take a country and you win an election, then you form a government, then the government becomes the government of representing the country. I think the government will achieve more if it's seeing itself as a government, working with people, trying to make sure that they understand that everyone here has a stake in what happens, whether you like them or not, whether you believe in them or not. When it goes wrong, they're all affected. But you can see a lot of challenges. I'm not going to name them. Everybody knows them. But those are challenges that are normal. They could be handled. But you need leadership on these things that will make sure that they work with those people that are knowledgeable, those people that may have something. Nobody has it all. So definitely I believe the government could achieve more. I don't see that.
But I'm sure you still maintain your relationship with the current president.
For me, I believe I'm available. It's the president who will want to have you stay in contact with him or her. It's not you. When people become president, they become special. You don't see them without them wanting to see you. You don't speak to them without them wanting to speak to you. So as far as I'm concerned, this is my country, this is our country, and the president will get to me whenever he wants to.
Let me read deeply into what you said earlier when I asked the question whether what's your take about the government's performance. You said the government would have achieved more if the government wanted to. So in other words, you are saying that, yes, the government has achieved.
Oh, of course, I mean, we're not saying that nothing has happened. We're still living, we're still walking, we're still driving around, the people are moving. You need a government in place to make that happen. But there are many other things that need to happen. You and I know.
For example,
I beg you, don't let me go into cherry picking. We know very well that many things would have happened that are not happening, and I don't have to go to put a shopping list. But I think the government, even the government official, when you talk to them, they will tell you whether they think everything is right. They might not want to say openly, but everybody knows what is not happening. Do I have to sit here to make a laundry list? No, I can't do that.
You've been a statesman, been around for quite a long time. I know you consider the current president as your son. If there were issues you have, or some concerns you have, don't you think it would be quite prudent if you approach him and say, I think it could be happening?
I think you will recall that when Mr. Weir took over as government, he went to my house, and I also went to his house more than once. If the president wanted to build a relationship, the president had the option to do so. Am I supposed to be the one going to the president every day and say, excuse me, I want to... That's what the president is, the president. The president is the one who reaches out to those he wants to reach out to.
You're listening to the Bumper Show, right here on the OBC 99.9 and other frequencies across Liberia. My studio guest here, and we will shortly open the lines, is the former president of the Republic, the former vice president, rather, of the Republic of Liberia, the ambassador, Joseph Yuma Boag. Now, if you were to be asked this question, what is it on your wish list that you have done for a country of this nature, if you had the opportunity to do so?
I would have created an environment where people, investment will come to this country, where people will be employed, where sanitation will be improved in this country, where medical supplies will reach the utmost part of this country, where good roads will be working by now. But we still are struggling with that. Isn't that obvious that these things create problem? The hardship, the cost of living, when things cannot get to people easily, the cost is inflated. We know all of these things are happening. And the solutions are with the people, working with people.
When you talk about hardship, this government, I know you agree with me, that doesn't owe, in fact, civil servants half a month, at least to mention a month. Two, I'm sure you quite agree with me that this government, that received that sort of international accolade with the economy from the International Monetary Fund. You read more than I read. So if you say that then there's hardship, then it brings one to wonder.
Well, that's one thing I know about life, that anybody elsewhere will come and see a child and say, what a beautiful child. You know whether the child is beautiful or not. If the governments all over say that, are the Liberians saying the same thing? The Liberians are the ones who are bearing the brunt. Are they saying the same thing?
So do you have a statistics of what we're saying?
I don't know. I'm living here. I'm not living outside this country. I'm listening just as much as you are listening. And one thing that I want to say in this country, no matter what, where we are, what we believe in, what we work with, let's be realistic ourselves. When we know the problem, then we know the solution. You live here just as much as I live here. Are the Liberians seeing what the international is seeing? Or the internationals, so are they the one living the life?
In another word, you don't respect whatever the opinion or the rating of the International Monetary Fund? This is a fund that you'll be working with?
Well, they themselves are doing their work and they know what they're doing, so it's up to them.
So
but I know that whatever they say, what's important, more important to me is what the Liberians say about their own economy, about what they're feeling. That's more important to me than what the IMF say. The IMF is a business.
Mr. Former Vice President, your government spent 12 years, your former government spent 12 years and left a huge infrastructure deficit. You saw the roads, we didn't have nothing called military hospital. All we knew was the small clinic, in the barrack called Soko Sako Clinic. And you were here with all of the resources. Don't you think that you could have done more than what this government is doing?
You are right about that. Every government does what it considers its priority. The military hospital might have not been that government priority, but I know there were medical facilities that were improved. A government is intended to do what it can do at the time it served. And the ultimate objective will be to make life for the country and for the people. If you choose to build a road somewhere, that's the road that you consider at that time important. The military hospital, well, we applaud that because it's for the military. There are places where they have children's hospital. There are places where they have hospital of different kind. Maybe the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government didn't consider as an option, but they did a lot of other things. A lot of other facilities were improved. The JFK and hospitals that would accommodate people. So it was not a military hospital, but they had hospitals that were functioning.
Let's assume you won election tomorrow. Given where you stand now, given the energy trying to diminish and all of that, how long do you think you will go?
Well, I can tell you, I am in the race because I know I'm capable and I'm fit to be in it. The issue of life and life expectancy are not issues that you and I can. Every day we see young people dying.
Sure.
So you are not, and I am not to determine. We are to serve our time and let who is the custodian of life take it as and when.
Before I open the lines, what's your source of income currently? Because you be going to a very hectic competition. You need lots of money. Do you have some overseas support, or where are you taking money from?
You know, one thing I know in life, whatever you want to do, and you believe in it, and you believe in God, you can do it. Maybe where you need a lot of money, I may not need a lot of money. Where you need a lot of external support, I may not. I bring to this country the respect of the people. I bring to this country the passion for the country. And I know that I do those things that I'm able to do. I don't need the kind of money that other people need. And definitely, if there was an election today, I would source money.
How much you worth now?
My time. I'm not here to declare assets. I'm not here to say my worth. I'm able to support my family. I'm able to assist people in the way I want to, and I'm willing to maintain myself. I think that is important to me.
07786415449. That's the number to call. 07786415449. That's the number to call, or better still, you can call on this line 0776-540-987. Again, 0776-540-987, or better still 0886-540-987. That's the good first call on the line. Yeah, name me where you calling from. Hello? Hello? Oh, it seems that I'm not getting this caller. Hello? Hello? Okay, that caller is not there. Let me take this other caller on the line. Hello? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is Tom for the Jeto.
Okay.
And I join you from my corner in Lokitan and so on. And let me say good evening to former VP Jeseniman Puaka. I listen to a recitation. Like to some of us, the honor they accept nothing to convince the Liberian public why we should elect in Company 23. Because we are then told that he served the first election for the 5 years within the Liberian government. Why are those
you made your point already. Let's take this record on the line. The lines are blinking. Your name and where you calling from? Let's hear from you, Uncle.
Let me say a wonderful thank you to His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Joseph Nwabwaka for his deliberation. I can guarantee Ambassador Bwaka that what did that happen in 2017, 23 for you. You will be the next president of the Republic of Liberia. You can take it to the bank, reserve it, and you will head the CPP. Thank you so much.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this record on the line quickly. This one, let's go to the line. Hello? Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. This is Pascal Davis.
Okay.
And I'm from District 6. Let me appreciate you so much for hosting the former vice president. I've got 3 questions for the honorable. I hope you protect me to ask this question.
Just go over here quickly.
Yes. The first question to Mr. Bwaka. Quite recently you were recalling and you referred to the rules being built by this government as a confirmed rules. You don't record for that. What is your definition of confirmed rule when you consider rules as a priority during the 2017 elections? My second question. You have consistently said that the government has done nothing. In fact, some of what the president is engaged with is the issue of pre-tuition at the university, is the issue of WASI, the issue of Austin unit, who also has to do with the harmonization. If your party or the CPP comes to government, will we go back to status quo? Will those things that the government has already implored, will it be cancelled on your work as the president if elected mistakenly? My third question. You knew exactly that Mr. Samukad was found guilty of the lower court for corruption or misappropriation, whatever you term it. And the CPP, in the aspect of expediency, still didn't think outside the box, but you allowed this man to contest the senatorial election, which he won today, see where we are. Why didn't at the time, put somebody else for the ticket to contest, rather than having somebody who has already been indicted by the lower court? These are my questions, and I hope you answer this question at least so I can be really satisfied. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's take this record on the line quickly. I'm sure the vice president will answer your questions. Hello? Yes, sir. Okay.
For the first time, you made me to listen to the performance show. Thank you for bringing the former vice president to the public and so that his people listen to him. The president is waiting. So he said it all. Look, the brother would have done well if they thought that those in opposition are Liberia and they have a friend that will reach out to them, for consultation or consult and ask them for advice. But when the government still go and said, when you are
Wow. We lost him. We're hoping that he can call back. Let's take this call on the line. Hello? Yes, you know where you're calling from, quickly. Yes, go ahead. Well, it seems we got this cross line, so let me go to the line quickly and take this one. Hello? Yes, let's hear from you.
Former vice president, all your colleagues are asking the question, they refuse to answer my question. I beg you, former vice president, before you leave the show, I want you to answer the question. I beg you. The question goes, when my memory can test me right, you said in government for 42 years. Honorable former vice president, what you do in the 42 years, then you come back to do. I want to tell a great people, what did you do in the 42 years, then you're coming back to do? I beg you.
Okay. He will respond to that. Hello? Oh, I can continue with this caller. Let me take this one quickly. Hello? Yes.
I heard the
they strand a lot of money. That is the former government. Strand a lot of opportunity for the Liberian people. And coming to this government that has very limited resources and thinking about extending our budget right now and have limited international support, how can you compare the past administration that strangled a lot of money as compared to this leadership today? The living condition of the Liberian people. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Let's take this call on the line quickly. Hello? Hello? Okay, let's go to the line quickly. Let's take this one. I'm getting from the difficulties. Hello? Yes, your name and where you calling from? Okay.
Have over the period of 12 years under the stewardship of Madam Sharif, that he could not deliver, that he wants to deliver this time around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this other call on the line. Hello? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, we can get the thing. We're not getting that call. Let's take this one. Yes, let's hear from you.
So we can hear it.
Yeah.
We can hear it.
Okay, let's take this call on the line quickly. Hello? 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 No, we can continue with this one. Let's do this. Yes, go ahead quickly. Your name and where you calling from?
From the County of Gambasa County.
Okay.
Yes, I want to ask a question. You asked the critical question, and he answered it, and he just from his end, he feels that relationship between him and Anthony is okay. And I want to know what is relationship now in terms of working, in terms of after the presidency that both of them left, the relationship between he and the former president, Madam Sharif, because rumors have been around that they are not in good relationship. Finally, if the CPP primary, if he doesn't win the CPP primary, whether he will still be going to support the winner. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Hello? 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 Okay, it seems that we're not getting on this line. Let's just take this line. Hello? Yes, your name and where you calling from?
Thank you so much for having me, and let me appreciate the former vice president in studio. My name is Christian Yanti, and I joined the conversation from the offices of the Intellectual Alliance of Liberia along the Japan Freeway. You know, I listen to the vice president, the former vice president, but I think it is unfortunate because it's a person who served for 2 years approximately in government and relied on government, who even told us now he fooled somebody by breaking a code and fed that code with salt water to make the gold fat. That's corruption in the first place. But I think the vice president did not say anything for which Liberians should repose their confidence in him to serve leadership. And I want to end up on this note to ask him now whether he still maintain the word that the United Party leadership misused that and the squander opportunity and misused that. I want the former vice president to answer that. Whether he still maintain your words on that.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take this call on the line. Hello? Okay.
Yes, I just got one question to ask our former vice president. Honorable vice president, you served 12 years in Madam Sharif government, and also you have been working in government for 42 years plus now. It is first to become president before you can leave the people of your business, or what?
Okay.
That's my question.
Okay. You'll respond to your question. He's taking notes. I'm sure you'll respond to your question. Hello? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'd like to salute His Excellency, the former Vice President. My name is David Chie, and I call this evening from District 6 in Montserrat. I think the former Vice President has admittedly told himself, as always. But one thing that keeps baffling me is the fact that
Okay. Okay, I'm sure you made your point already. Hello?
Hello, my name is Ambassador S. Christopher T. I'm calling from GSA.
Okay, let's hear from you, sir.
Well, good evening, Mr. Former Vice President. I want to say this to you. Not a question, but I want to say this to you. The people who pushing you for this presidency, we don't have law for you. You have served your country for 42 unbroken years in government. I think this is the time you said you play kind of a advisory role to government, president, and government to come. Don't allow those people to push you that in return will become a last stop. Thank you, and I appreciate your appearance on the radio for 2023 election is not done.
Okay. Let's take this call on the line quickly. You let me know where you're calling from. Hello? Yes.
Well, I listened to Ambassador Joseph Newman Flocka, and I think he spoke well. And I agree with him when he talked about there are some other challenges of the government, and he believes that it is normal to any other government in the country. But on a very serious note, I think one of the corner chiefs is in my opinion. For all indications, Ambassador Joseph Newman Flocka, you have served in government for 40+ years. I think at your age now, it is only prudent that you go and sit, and then you can serve as an advisor to any other government that will come in the country. But as for this time, for you to see that if by all costs you need to be president of our country, I think it's a disservice to the younger generation, and nowadays the generation.
Okay. Hello? You made a point already? Hello? Hello? Okay, it seems that we take another call on the line. I'm sure we'll take 3 more calls and then we'll open the lines for the leave it for the former vice president to respond. Yes, so let me where you calling from.
Thank you for having me. There's Andrew Moses, and I do join you for the headquarters of the Electoral Alliance of Liberia. I got 2 questions for the former vice president. Honorable former vice president, you said before that you was a red car parked in the garage. But I wanted to understand that you are taking 5,000 homes. So how can a red car be carrying 5,000 homes? Is that not a corruption? And secondly, I want to ask you about your pacemaker. You said to us on the 50/50 talk show that you have a pacemaker. So how do you think you can provide a better life for the country with a pacemaker? Thank you.
Okay, so let's take this caller. Let's take this caller quickly, and then we'll go back to the former vice president. You know where you calling from? Yes, I'm okay. Hello? Yes, go ahead quickly.
People talking at the same time.
Okay, many things. Let me take this last caller quickly. Yes, hello? Hello? Yes, go ahead quickly. Okay, I think that question was asked earlier. Let's now go to the former vice president of the Republic of Liberia to respond to those concerns.
Thank you very much to all of those scholars who raised questions. I know the one who raised a question about roads. When I spoke during the interview, during the time of our candidacy, we talk about roads. We know the importance of roads. When I see roads that are being built that you're talking about, I don't believe those are the roads I was talking about. Roads that help the economy, roads that expose the country for investment. And so when I said the roads that were being built are not the roads that I was talking about, and I believe that. Those are not the roads that bring improvement to the economy. To this date, you go to the southeast, you go to Lofa, you go all over. Even going to Tottenham-Bird, a paved road, you have difficulties. We want to build roads, we want to open the economy, the roads that bring about employment, good health. We're not talking about roads in the city as much as they are needed, but that was what I was talking about. When you're talking about the matter of everybody talking about whether or not you serve 42 years, I never said I served 42 years in government. I worked 12 years as vice president. I worked 3 years as Minister of Agriculture. All of us work in public operations and did other work. The Liberians hold to one thing and they say it over and again. I'm happy that we come on the radio every now and then to answer the same questions over the same period of time. And you talk about doing nothing, parking the garage. How long would it take people to understand? Maybe to understand the difference between a car in the garage and a race car on the racetrack. Maybe these are difficult things to understand. A race car was meant to participate in the race. If a race car is not put on the racetrack, it would not be a race car. Is that the same as being parked in the garage? And you talk about what is it that this government has done. We didn't say the government didn't do anything. Every government has an opportunity. When you come to power, you come to power with a promise that I'm here to do X, Y, Z. You come to say people didn't do X, Y, Z. So one would want to complain that the government does not have the possibility to bring in investors, they're getting limited support. Isn't that what governments come to say, that what the government did not do, that's what I will do? You come again and say, well, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it because I'm not getting support. But isn't that what you tell those that elect you, that when you come, you will do it? It's your job to do it, to find the best way to go about it. That's the work of the government, to be able to mobilize resources, to mobilize support, and to deliver. So that's the task that you come to. And the apologies, only those people who elected you. The matter of squandering money. You know, that's one thing I like about this country. You say one thing, they take it and take it out of. We come to the radio to talk to people, to answer questions. We seem to be answering the same questions. I did not say the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government squandered. I say we squandered opportunity, meaning there were things we could have done that we did not do. And being honest about it, that we could have done more than we did. Is that hard to explain? You talk about limited support. But that's the promise that we make. You only have to tell the Liberians that what I told you that I'm going to do, that I'm not able to do it. But it's a question of being able to convince investors to come and invest. It's a matter of confidence for people to come and do the things that you want for them to do along with you. That's why you tell the people that you're coming to do. You talk about delivering the country that we could have done X, Y, Z in 12 years. Yes, we could have done a lot, but we did much more than probably that which was done, because the time we came up, we know where the economy was, we know what the country roads were, and we know what we took them to. Even if we had stayed 20 years, it was not meant that after that succeeding government will not have responsibility, they will not have challenges, they still have to. You're talking about at what point you take the country and where you lead it to. Relationship with Madam Salif, I'm not here to say what Madam Salif feels about me. I'm here to say what I feel about her. As far as I know, I'm at peace with her. I don't have any problem with her. If she had problem with me, you explain that.
Okay. So I thank you for already answered all of the questions so far. Mr. former Vice President, thank you very much for your time sharing on this platform. We really relish that time with you, and we wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
A giant in the race in Monserrato County. Honorable Musta SB Dore is my name. You know, this is Liberia, and there is one thing I admire. I see the level of unification, the level of respect and deportment accorded the ambassador. But Ambassador Ria, over the period of time, we've been in Liberia, and we observe that there have been this issue of this peace commission. You serving as the peace ambassador, knowing full well that there have been problems between the Loma, the Madingo in Lofa, the Gio and Kran, Grand Jude County, Nimba, and then other intricacies and innuendos involved with the process. Now, you took office almost 2 years ago. What have you done as a public sector leader or a public sector manager or peace ambassador to ensure that we have a modus that will take Liberia somewhere, that we all will live in peace and tranquility? Thank you very much. All right. Comrades. By the way of introduction, my name is Ivan Wisset. That means you did a wavelength to extend my revolutionary tentacle to the people below. But the question is, the CDC is an embodiment of a democratic-based institution where bulk of its members are grassroots. Having listened to the debate germinated from the ambience of the predicted national legislature that has to do with the astronomical increment in the registration process of fee as it relates to who be representatives and senatorial candidates. Hoping to the fact that both of the CDC members and partisans who want to participate in the equal democratic process are grassroots. Where does the CDC stand towards this particular proposed bill? Thank you very much.
We organize football with all session meetings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fonet. Mr. Dolly. Yeah, but again, we in a democratic state, and I want you to know, I'll be very clear.
You know, I think every Liberian has the right, the constitutional right, to be what they want to be. Sure. I welcome you in the race. I welcome you in the race, but I want you to be mindful. The reason we got into the race is not a game. The reason we got into the race, we got into politics, is when we see the eyes of our people. Those who that we stood for during the war. Those who we see every day that cannot afford to take their children to school, that cannot afford to take their children to hospital. These are the people we are fighting for. It's not to go against you. Because I listen to all of you people, when you come, I'm going to pick George Weah. It's not about me. It's about representation. So I'm going to the race. My party believe that I can make a difference for our people. So if you're in a race to beat me, you need to make sure that you think about how you're going to help your people, how you're going to develop their life. That's what I'm going for. But again, like I say, we as sports says, bring it on. It's a challenge, and we're all in the race. Bring it on, brother. Now, let us go to the peace initiative that you talk about. You know, citizens, I know a lot of you people are aware. Even me, as a peace ambassador, before I came to being a peace ambassador, there was a peace initiative 2013 program that was put together by those actors. Just the other day, they asked me to be, I was appointed to be the peace ambassador. Being a peace ambassador means I'm an agent, a messenger, a one that went through the Ministry of Internal Affairs. My job reference, first of all, let me tell you if you don't know it, is to support all peace initiatives, is to create peace initiatives and ask those people that sustain it to sustain it. If they can, they will sustain it. If they cannot, they will not. Now, you saw the Ballon d'Or that was the jumpstart of the peace initiative. To bring our people together. That was a success. Today, we're working on the Nima County and the Grand Gila of friendship. That are 2 meetings already with the Nibadians and the Grand Gila. They all agree to make that friendship. And in this coming week, we will be calling on Liberians, those who are well-meaning Liberians that want peace, to join us, go into the counties and make that friendship. So I want you to know that the peace initiative, that 5 minutes to talk about, I don't control it. I'm just a messenger. I support, and when I create something, they support it. So the person that can answer your question is Minister Dukley. For sure, will be the person to answer your question if I'm not answering your question the way you expect it to be answered. So you know, we talk, and we know what is unfolding, but we act like nothing going on. And you, as a person that want to be senator of this Colorado County, you know, I think you should gather information, and I know information will be given to you. You know, you don't want to go on ahead and thinking at home. So we are. Because a lot of people say, he said, send 2 years. Now, I'm going to outline what I've done in the 2 years. So please open the ears. Since I become peace ambassador, in conclusion, since I become peace ambassador, the paramilitary, the military gives the government an ultimatum. Intervene for them to dialogue with the government, because I thought that it was not the right thing to do, to give the government an ultimatum. Because I believe in peace and in conflict resolution, there's only 3 key components. 1 is to talk in a peaceful way. 2 is to bargain it. And the 3rd one is to use force. So we cannot use force before we go to peace. We must step by step. When those people refuse, then you use force. Now, what I voted was for them to give the government an ultimatum, because I know they were using force. So I was able to convince them, not persuade them, but convince them to dialogue with the government, because I felt that it was in all of us' interest, in your interest, in my interest, because if anything starts, you will not be running. You know, say it will disrupt what you're trying to do. Now, the LU, the children was so bitter. And again, I want to inform you that I don't have an office. So in my party office, most of the meetings, either at my residence or at the citizen party headquarters, I host the meeting. I was able to talk to a group of LU students. I was very adamant. When they got to me, I thought that they were not even going to listen to me. But again, thanks to those students, thanks to the University of Liberia children that came better. But when I spoke to them, I was able to again convince them and let them know that the better way is to dialogue. And they went there. So that 2 instances, 2 problems are stopped. I showed you a year when I came in, the Eden stepped down. I intervened. The nurses are striking, I intervened. So it tells you that in the 2 years, I've been doing a lot of things. The fact that I'm not talking on the air, it doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything. I'm working behind the scene, because I have a responsibility to the president and the internal affairs. Everything that I do, I communicate with them. Amara is my witness. Now, about peace, Benina Ure. I advocate that. Go to the president and say, Madam President, there's peace ambassador, but there are people on the list. These are Liberians. Try your best, madam, to get them off the list. And I say, yes, I think you're right. I will do my best to follow the process. Those 19 or 20-something grandchildren are in prison. If you see them in court today, it's because I intervened. I went to the president. I think the due process needs to be followed. I appeal to you to make sure that the children go to court. Because I heard, I don't know if it's true, that since they were arrested, they have not gone to court. And I said, Judge, I will go to the referee authorities to make sure that the children get their days in court, they exonerate themselves. So for the 2 years, I've been working to keep the country stable. If that is satisfactory, then that's what I can do. Yeah, and to finish with you, the last time I listened to radio, our good friend, my friend Costa, he said that if it is true, but it's not true, but I'll just give you information that he was in handcuffs. And I didn't stop to find out why the handcuff in his hand. But you see, and I want all to listen. Maybe we're not aware. From my school of thought, whenever you see anybody in handcuffs, because people that are in handcuffs are supposed to be in prison and either at the court. If anybody in handcuffs in the street, they could be dangerous. Because when you run away from court, you're fidgeting. When you get handcuffed in your hand from jail, you're fidgeting. Anybody along with you, they charge them for complicity. I know Costa very well. The first thing that I did, I saw Carrasco standing. I placed a call to Carrasco. I said, what are you doing there? Who is there? He said, oh, that Costa hasn't adjusted. I said, Carrasco, before they tell you that CDC people making noise, get out of that place. We will follow the right way to do it. The first thing I did, I called Fuma. Fuma is a witness. You know, I believe in confidentiality. I don't let them search people's name. But Fuma, there's a national issue. Fuma said, yes. By 11 o'clock, Mr. Weah called me and said, it's not necessary. Please free Costa. He said, George, he threatened me. You know, my family on the board. I will do my best. Before 12 o'clock, Mr. Costa out of prison. So these are the things. You know, and the fact that we're working behind the scene, we're not vocal. It doesn't mean that we are weak. You know, every strong person to negotiate, that is strength. So, I want you to get that information. I want to ask the Costa over here, so people can know that Fuma is a witness. Now, so that's what I've been doing since I've been peace ambassador. But pretty soon, you know they got a code of conduct that been passed, and that may jeopardize my peace ambassador title, but that doesn't stop me from being a volunteer for peace in the Republic of Liberia. Well, my dear, we all been concerned, and I don't know if the bill gone already, but we're very concerned, and I've been negotiating with these people in the house, because I believe that what carries them there should carry every Liberian. But the people are going in the house. Some people are going there for $700, $500 the registration. But to inflate that from 500 or 700 to 10,000 or 5,000, it's extravagant. Besides that, on what ground? Because to inflate for registration for election, then that means either the country, people are working and making money, there's growth in the economy. You understand? So that's why you pay if the people stay the same and they're not making money, they're not working, what do you do? It's not for your own personal advancement. What you need to do is always make a profit that people can grow. Because in our community, it's people want and need. So if the wages of registration is lower, we got more participants. And I think in our democracy, in the democratic process, we need more people to participate. It doesn't matter where you come from or who you are, because that's the democratic process. And I show in the 15 years of civil crisis, the reason that we fought civil war is because of undemocratic behavior. So today we came to show we fought that. And if maybe you will hear that there's a new registration fee, that will go further beyond the scenes, and everybody will be satisfied to go to the race. Why would I want to pay $10,000 to go to the race? I can afford. What about a little boy in Uganda? What about a little boy in West Point? What about the man that will stand for his people? He have the ideology and the philosophical reference and to move the people forward. If the people bring him forward, what do? He doesn't have money. You understand? So it's all about ideology. The people want you to go there, and then you are supported. But you cannot again inflict prices or registration fee because you think now, oh, now I'm here, I can afford $10,000. The next man I'm coming, can I afford even $1,000? Yes, people are poor. But you forgot to know that it's all about ideology. If I believe in you, whether you're poor or not, I mean, if you pay $20,000 for you to register, and now why the Congo Democratic did. In 2005, when we came, all of our people, most of our people never had registration fee. And the party make sure that everybody register. So it's all about ideology. And so I hope that that new registration fee will come up and she will be satisfied. So when you're running. Okay, the first question on the Ebola issue, and I think with all due respect, he's a journalist. I think the primary duty of a journalist to gather information, evaluate them, and then let the public know what is going on. But again, we heard that it's an epidemic is coming towards Liberia. And I think, not only as a citizen or political leader, the first thing I should do is to listen to the expert, which is the doctors. They will inform us that epidemic, how dangerous it is, or what are the cases, where is the cases, and then we as citizens will suggest, this is how it should be handled. For example, somebody said, why they didn't move the military to the border? Is that going to solve the Ebola issue by taking the army to go to the border? The army is there to defend our country when there's a external threat. But it's not when an epidemic, when you have doctors and experts that do research on sicknesses that's supposed to be there. Then you have the immigration as well to escort the people to make sure that those who are coming through the border will be screened, or if there's any problem, then they'll be contained by those experts. That's the job of those people, not our job. So, but as a citizen, I am concerned that such epidemic is being announced. But again, we're still waiting. So all of the doctors that know that it's dangerous to tell us the way forward. And then, as a political leader, we can speak and let the government know that whatever they need to do to help the doctors to fight, combat those that epidemic, then we'll go through the house. We'll get our people there that will advocate whatever needed for the problem to be solved. And I think they would have done that. So that I hope I answered your question. But again, as I said, a gentleman asked me, I'm not going to answer to any question you say they say. I led for information to be substantiated because in critical thinking, they told us we should gather information, evaluate them, test them before implement them. So once I'm not in that trend, I can answer. Thank you very Well, my dear friend, and we all are concerned about the economy. And first of all, let us look at how economy boom, and it's job for people, the resources, the way it's managed, and the amount of people that get jobs, the amount of people that have been supported, subsidies, and all that. When we see how the country got growth, then we can criticize. But I'm not an economist. So what I can say is that, of course, times are hard. Even me as a ambassador for peace, I've come up with so many projects and created a lot of peace initiatives that government tells us that that's shortfall in the budget. So that tells you, automatically it tells you that the economy has a problem. You don't need to hear it from me. And so what we need to do now is not to get on a radio to insult either the leader of the country or those people that are responsible for the economy to boom. What we need to do is to suggest to them what needs to be done. For example, all of the taxes that I put on the goods, because in economics we talk about people's needs and wants. When rest is expensive, when you know that you have a shortfall in the budget, then reduce the rest so those who are that are not even working but making ends meet can buy. So when the shortfall, we cannot again support scarcity. You understand? So what needs to be done for all of us? Because we have our responsibility as a citizen to suggest to the government to say, look, we got people that go to China that are buying goods that coming in. The taxes are too high. Mr. Finance Minister, I think if we reduce tax on this this goods, it can help our people. More goods can come in. So it's not to go criticize. So sometimes you see when we're not talking, we work with institutions. I'm the leader of the most potent political party called for democratic change in this country. And I'm not going to waste my time. My duty is to make sure that all lives are protected. We are peaceful, we are stable. My political party, that's why we put people in the both houses to fight the cause of our people. Yes. When they're making budget for anything that needed to be done. For example, we talk about healthcare. We have the right, those people, to go back to the hospital because we know how important it is. If you leave the hospital, a healthcare employee going to a protest, instead of going on the air and just trying to castigate and saying, like, we need to suggest to them, I know. You want to protest, people are dying. All of you can go protest. Yes, when you protest, we know that you're in need. but you lead people to the hospital so they can do the work while we outside there too and fighting for them. These are the suggestions. It's not to be on radio and be insulting people. So what I did was to write to say, look, for the sake of our people, we know it is critical now, but could you please go back to the hospital and work? Let us fight your cause. And how we fight the cause to go through the House of Representatives and say, look, raise the healthcare bill because it's important. You saw what happened to our honorable person yesterday. And I said, I may so rest in peace. If we had a good healthcare facility, maybe it might be safe, who knows? Because we don't know what took his life. So it's important that we support the healthcare bill. Last night I sat with a police officer that said they don't even have a car. They don't even have a car to patrol. And these things are important, but it's not to be criticized and who talk and who don't talk. We talk, but we talk through our people in the house and we talk through our political party. If you saw our communication after the nationwide address, I'm sure people are satisfied with that. It's not only to criticize, but to give a quantitative reference. That's what we did. So if you not hear me talking, it doesn't mean that I don't want to talk. I don't interrupt the people. Thank you, my okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You listen to the guy there. You listen to the guy there speaking from Lufa County, and we've been saying this to you, and you need to understand. So I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later.
I must do my part. And doing my part is not going to be an easy ride. There are times that I will look at George Weah in the face and tell him he's not doing the right thing. There are times that I will look at Booker in the face and tell him that he's not doing the right thing. And there are times that I look at Cummings and tell Cummings that he's not doing the right thing. Why? Because they are all leaders of our country at this moment. And whatever they do is going to affect the general decision of our generation, that when the future generation decide to look at what we did and how we support it or they didn't support it, we all will be blamed because of our present at this moment. If you don't understand that, I do understand that. I'm trying to wash my hands from things that will happen in the future when the young generation try to judge us. Joseph Boyka got no interest in our country. Let me tell you why and how. The why is Joseph Boyka is old enough. He's very, very old. Joseph Boyka can cause any damage today. He doesn't have long left to live. He can destroy that country today, and in years to come, he will be dead and gone. And some of the things will be irreversible. Our democracy is in the contemporary politics of Liberia, and it is time for us to put in the foundations. And the foundation means we should learn to do the right things in the right way for the right reason. Those of you who support Joseph Boyka today, are you supporting Joseph Boyka to defend the future of your country? Or are you supporting Joseph Boyka to defend your pocket and your personal interests? If the answer is yes, let me ask you this. Will it be fair for Joseph Boyka to just get up and few people say they nominated him when you have a democratic process where the voices of people count? Joseph Boyka was nominated in 2017 to take on George Weah. What process or processes did he pass through to still be the leader, to be representing the Unity Party within the CPP? Do you understand the principle, the full principle of democracy? Do you really understand that? Do you understand that? Do you understand the full principle of democracy? Let me just take a step away from my seat here and give you a card here. I need to show you guys something here. All right? Because for me, when I'm doing this thing, I always like to present visual aid here so that people can see here. Let me see what are the full principles here. I don't want to take my seat until I make sure it is in my hand because it's a deck of cards
that I have here, so please bear with me. I'm looking through them. I think you can hear the sound back there. So let me see here. The 4 principles of democracy. I need to find that for you guys so that I can show it to you guys here quickly here. I think it might be in the other badge here. If not the other badge, it should be in the other badge. I'm confident that it's in the other badge here. So let me look through this quickly here. All right, because I really want to show this thing to you guys here. I believe in visual aid teaching because that's my style of teaching, and I think that will help you guys to actually understand my point here. I don't mean to be rude, to just walk away from the camera, but I'm just trying to present something to you guys that just came up to my mind quickly here. So let me not waste my time and come right back here. Since I cannot find it. I could give it to you guys right away. I think it's right here. Yeah, I think it's right here. All right, it should be here. The 4 principles. If I cannot find it, then I'll just have to recite it to you guys here quickly here, right? All right, I can't find it here. All right, it's not here. It's not in my top 4 presentation package here, but I think I have it here. All right, it's sad that I cannot find it right now, so let me not waste your time here because I just want to wrap things up quickly here. Last call. If I cannot find any last call, that's fine. There's so many of them here. All right, okay, so it's not here in the last call, but here's the thing here. There are 4 principal pillars of democracy. 1 is total representation. Total representation. Like I always tell you guys, within our democracy, we have presidential representation, where we go and vote for president. And we also vote for elected officials. But when it comes to representative election or democracy, we don't have that. Representative democracy is where people within a political party, people within a community, and people within a county they are giving the voices to elect their superintendent, to elect their party leader, to elect their city mayor. We are not reached that far. How you think we should get there? We should be able to get there by people who are in leadership, setting in place or putting in place the proper channel that we should follow to go through. Joseph Boakai, as the standard bearer against Weah in 2017, lost that election, but he still maintained himself as the standard bearer. And they put themselves together as a collaborating political party. There's nothing wrong. I want you to understand it. There is nothing wrong to come together as a group of political parties to establish an alliance for a common goal. But when it comes to who will represent, just as they go into the World Cup, all clubs or all country teams will participate in the FIFA process, right? But you must merit your time to get to the World Cup. How do you get to the World Cup? By the FIFA democratic rule, you must play countries. The few days you're President Lone Star and playing the few days. How you think Lone Star can just get up and go to the World Cup or whatever club, game they're playing to get there? Because there is a process that everybody must go through. Take that same idea, apply it to a democratic process. If they have called the 4 political parties to sit at the table and only strategize ways to defeat George Weah, that's fine. But when you start to come out and say, we want to have a representation on the table by political parties, then Boakai should be going through a convention where the people will represent him. Because you know why? That collaborating political party that came together, it should have been the chairman of every political party, because the election is over. All right? The election is over. And when election ends by democratic rules, the standard bearer that were nominated for each political party should be stepping aside and the party chairman comes in. So in the case of the collaboration, it will be the chairman of the Unity Party, the chairman of the ANC, the chairman of the ALP, and the chairman of the Liberty Party will all sit down to the table and begin to strategize. If they decide that they want to have a standard bearer or a designated person who they believe could take down George Weah, then the party chairman will go back to the party and say, this is why we came our way. Here are some of the recommendations here. We are asking now to have a representation that would, in the end, take on George Weah, to take George Weah down. Then each political party, based on their bylaw and constitution, will then now have their own internal democratic total representation where they will vote. Cummings will be in the ANC along with other ANC aspiring to see where they will be elected to be represented at the CPP. Ure will do the same thing. Boka will do the same thing. Those steps were eliminated by Boka. And Boka only came and said, I am being represented. No Ure, Nada, no Nombikanga came out to object to any of those things. Only Cummings alone got up and said, I had to go back to my party to see whether I can be represented here. Are you firing me here, ladies and gentlemen? You live in America here. These are things that people do. These are processes that people follow. And those things were not followed in the country over there. And Boka sat over there and bypassed the entire process. And then you got people who supporting Boka. Look at the people that are supporting Boka today and ask yourself, who are these people? Where do they live? What do they do for a living? Why are they supporting Boka? Ask yourself the fundamental question. Look at Ome Boka. Does he have 10 years, 20 years to live from now? I'm not God. But with his ailing health, even if he live up to 20 years from now, what can he do? That has all he is. He will start to fall short to some of the aging problem that every old age person get. And when he sit there and start to do things illegally, unacceptable to our society, and nobody saying anything about that, all because we Liberians have been trained to just follow things and not even challenge those things. So again, I'm calling on Cummings to stay away from the CPP. They are not in his interest. They set him up to be what he is today. He was part of the ANC when another guy started to throw monkey wrench into his participation in the club. Yes. How can you be part of the organization and somebody keep insulting you, creating division? Because that was the plan. How can you be in an organization and somebody from the outside start to create division? You guys are planning for your Armageddon. I feel sorry for the people on the ground. I don't understand what some of us are saying here. Liberians on the ground, you are planning for your Armageddon. Let me tell you guys this. During the war, when the war was launched in 1989, those are all that were on the ground. What we thought, oh, the rebel will just come today, they will go to the mansion, and they will take door, and then we'll go back. But that journey, when that rebel entered that country, some of us still walking away from Liberia. Have we learned our lesson? Have we learned our lesson? Oh, Boka is our man. JMB must go. You ask one JMB supporter, why should JMB be president? The only thing they will give you, JMB must go. Joseph Boka was defeated by George Weah because after all the years that his supporter claimed to have, he could not use one of his experiences to convince the Liberian people. And he has sat down for 2.5 years now, going on 4. And now he coming back with no clear message. And Liberians are sitting there and supporting him. Who are we? When the man with the lawnmower who look at Joe Boka and say he's a dead man walking. And say Joseph Boka said he will compliment everything that Ellen did. And you're sitting down there and lying somebody like that to play on your mind. To play on your mind. The man who won't tell you, say, Joseph Boka is the dead man walking. We all know flinch. The man who told you that Joseph Boka said he will use everything that Ellen got. And the same man coming to you. Especially you that in America here, in Europe, and coming to you and telling you that the man is the rightful man. But he's not telling you, and you're not even asking, but why Joseph Boakai did not go through his party democratic process? Even if the party got that fake and biased rules, what value is Joseph Boakai adding to the party? If the people say Joseph Boakai was nominated in 2017, and according to the constitution of the party, Joseph Boakai will remain, then why do we have a democratic process? Then there should be none. It should be a unitary process. There should be no reason for people to have election within the party. Just have a board of people who will just select people. It shouldn't be about election, but selection. Joseph Boakai wants to introduce selection into our democracy because he got nothing to lose. What Joseph Boakai had done is called selection and not election. And what Cummings is doing. That's why I'm calling on Arizona Cummings. This is a free advice to Mr. Cummings. Disconnect yourself from the CPP. Re-engineer yourself. Think about a strategy called the Team Cummings strategy. Team's Cummings strategy should be geographically covering the entire 15 counties. Have a satellite Team Cummings for River G County. Have a satellite Team Cummings for Muscle County. Have a satellite Team Cummings for Grand Cayman County. Have a satellite Team Cummings across the entire country. You got 1 year to go to make sure that that program is saturated among our people across the various county. Your goal should be to get to the second round. And then when you will become a valuable asset. You have been on the ground for a very long time now. You understand the nuts and bolts about what the people want. The only missing part for you, Cummings, is your ability now to begin to strategize. I know some of them will come here to steal my idea because that's what they do for a living. That's what they do for a living. From the CDC government to the opposition to all of them, they steal all my strategy. Because I've been in the game for a very long time. But they will not come back here. All right? It's time in favor of Cummings now. Look at the other guy here. You see Liberians? Let me tell you about the Liberian man, all right? I'm going to take a break a little bit because this guy, I'm going to define who the guy. The guy is just a symptom of some of our fellow Liberians. What did I say from the beginning of the show? You see one of our Liberian men, some of them, I feel sorry for them. And I'm not going to use any phrase here to inclusively bring people in. Did I say I'm in favor of Cummings here when I started the show? You see, the white man, when he gets somewhere, he will sit down and listen for some time. But the Liberian man, as soon as he gets somewhere, even when he gets there 5 minutes, 10 minutes late, while he hear you talking at that moment, he base his question and his mindset on it. That's who the guy is. So that will not waste our time. These are the guys then that Lamar guy continue to use in his place. And he enjoy using them. Because they don't have quantitative reasoning. You know the reason why your child will be given a quantitative test in this country? Is because it is very important that they must have that quantitative skills to be able to evaluate and understand things. So let's get back to the topic here, all right? So, I am calling on Cummings to disembark himself from the the CPP. Stay away from them. They are one of the most dangerous groups that don't mean well for that country. Look at all of them. The Europe. What capital does Europe have in that country? Europe beyond Caribbean where he lives. Who knows Europe on the highway going to Margibi County? Who knows Europe on the highway going to Kakata? Who knows Europe on the highway going to Cape Town? Nobody. He is one of the most selfish person in the world that I have ever seen before. When it comes to carrying on dubious things, he is the master of this game. And that's what he wants to do. Europe doesn't believe in equity, where everybody should have their own share. He wouldn't believe in promoting his family. Who in Europe orbiter that ever run any of his businesses other than his children? who can come out here today and honestly tell you about the thing that Yuri had done. Yuri a Maritime. He destroyed Maritime throughout. He destroyed Maritime through us. Throughout the whole process, he destroyed Maritime. During the early administration, he naked a woman who went down there that he accused of doing something that could not be verified. And that's the person that Boka. As far as going to join CDC, it's too early to do that. Because CDC cannot be trusted too. I don't trust CDC. Why it is true that I campaign for CDC, I have learned a great deal of lesson from CDC. I don't trust CDC. President Weah is not a people person. He is selective in doing people things. So I will not allow Cummings to just join CDC now. And that's why I'm asking Cummings to re-strategize himself by establishing the team Cummings across the country. And his goal for doing that is to be able to have a bigger foot in the next round. Because by then, CDC will be coming to him, or the same Unity Party people will want to come to him because they know who he is now in the second round. And now when Cummings can dictate what he wants through some type of agreement that will be legal and binding. But to join now, no. No. Cummings must remain a hero now and not a helper. Because what CPP had done to Cummings, they have reduced him from a hero of his party to now a helper. A helper does not have too many leverage. He can be put anywhere, he can be pushed anywhere. So for Cummings to remain a hero, he needs to stay away from all political parties and do exactly what I just said, hoping that he could win the election as well. But if he doesn't win and they go to the second round, it will still make him a valuable access to the party process, the 51 plus. And that when now he can begin to negotiate as the highest bidder. He should make himself to be the swing party. Wherever he goes, he wins. But what we're making to be that person is the ability to have a problem, identify all the problem, to have a what? A solution to the problem and the direction he wants to take the country. If you look at Joseph Boakai, he has been defeated 42 years in government. Yuri have been in that country and also damaged the future of that country. Comments, you need to understand that. We are who came as the golden child that we campaigned for. We are stock is down today. We are stock is down today. And he must bring it up. And he's not doing so well with that. Because people who support we are only supporting we are with biased feelings. And they are even turning against their own sedition. So you, Cummings, you have to redefine yourself looking at the two things I just said here. You are not doing anything wrong, Cummings. You still need to go and take a holy bath in the Atlantic Ocean to redeem yourself. You are not corrupt, and I'll give it to you. You are not in the process of joining these guys to do the wrong thing because you just prove it to balk at them. So you still stand a better chance, Cummings. You need somebody who will be very upfront with you like I am doing now. Forget about Asif trying to praise you everything you do. Where you wear Madano socks and come outside looking funny that he say it look good though. You need somebody who will challenge you to tell you the truth. Because if the house don't sell you, the street will not buy you. Politics is about people being vigilant, people being strong and telling you the truth. We tested George Weah, and George Weah is not strong enough to withstand some of the constructive criticism out here. My videos are out there. Mr. Weah did not take one advice from me today. None. Because of the people he got around him. So I'm giving it to you now, Cummings. This is a free advice. Free advice. I am now a strategist on this platform within the Liberian community. I don't sit on Facebook and only talk about the problem. I provide solution and strategy to the problem. That's who I am. That's what I do for a living. I make your life better. It's not about who Cummings is. It's about being Liberia-centric. Yuri is not Liberia-centric. Boakai is not Liberia-centric. Weah is trying to be Liberia-centric, but he's not Liberia-centric enough. Cummings, you are looking in the direction of of importing or introducing Liberia centricity in the country, and you must stand by it and not be deterred by anything. Because you guys will be the one that the next generation will judge tomorrow. I'm telling you guys. When your school teams are today, the days of Joseph Jiggin Rabba or to Samuel Kayondu will no longer be a discussion on the table. It will start from Ellen, Weah, and whoever will come after Weah. That's what will be discussed in the year 2065. Are you guys willing to make that mistake? Will you be in a classroom? Will your situation be in a classroom of young Liberians in the future where they will be discussing the errors that you guys are making today? It's not too late yet. It is not too late for you guys. Whether you're a student, you come here, I ain't get for them but you. Because you guys are one of the deceptive people. Some of you guys, from your own president, I don't open up to nobody. I don't open up to nobody. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. And George Weah must be able to accept what I'm telling him today. Look at the number of people that CDC had in the past. But because certain group of people, and Cummins, you need to learn that too. Because if you don't do it, the divide and rule game will exist forever. The divide and rule game will exist in our country, and it will be the elephant versus the grass. And only the grass will suffer. Many of you guys watching me here today, you are not born with silver spoon in your mouth. That means you are part of the grass. Your children were born with silver spoon in their mouth. Boka was born as a grass, but he had transformed himself to be an elephant. We were born as a grass, but we had transformed himself to be an elephant now and don't care for the common people. Yes, we don't care for the common people. If we believe that he lived in a swamp in West Point and in Claverton, when some of us are making statements, we will come and listen to us. Look at Samuel 12, for example. We all used to walk in Tottenham down there and go and get beans to eat. But today, they're sitting over there. Let me tell you guys one thing. I lived in the Dual administration. There used to be a guy called G. Alvin Jones, founder minister of Liberia. During the Dual era, those guys that were in government, they used to go from one place to another, open a car trunk, and you will see US dollars with the Dual coins. And nobody thought that day was going to come to an end. But where are they today? They are nowhere. So let them do what they can do today. Every one of you guys who enjoy illegally and the people are suffering over there, one by one, that money will go away. And there will be few that will be left for the next generation to see, as in the case of Jenkins Scott. Some of you guys in government today and some of you guys are supporting the government. God will keep some of you guys alive. And you will bear the consequences of what you're doing today. You will cry for death, and death will not come your way. You saw that woman giving water to Jenkins Scott? Those are all who knew who Jenkins Scott was during the Dual time. When we saw that image, we had to clean our eye like this and take a second look. Because he was one of the fearful men during the Dual administration. But that year, he ended. My point here is, all these guys you see passing around here today, oh, they this, they that, they will all wither one day. Their season will come to an end. And you guys will be saying, yes, that's left. But you know who will be the victim? The incoming generation and the country will be the victim. Because from 1847 to 2021, there have been series of people in the country that have enjoyed. But Mama Liberia has always been the victim. From the natural resources, to war, to chaos, to death. She takes in everything. But we don't make her to shine among other countries. We allow her to just be used by individual, and with that we're supporting it. You think everybody going to listen to me today? No. There are some people that God made in Liberia that will see the wrong and support it. No matter what you do, I can take off all my clothes here and talk to you guys, which will not be a pleasant thing to do, but it's not going to change their mind. Some of them have already made up their mind that this is why they will support. But you can be the change, because tomorrow You might be the one that will be left here to live here for 110 years. And your children will be coming to you. And will start pointing at you. You used to live back there. They're the one who messed the country up. And you cry for death. But death will not come your way. Because it is you that God will destine to be here. To feel all the pain. And there will be no way that you turn the hands of the clock back. Because you're now living in a time where you can make the change that you want. Parker don't get a damn for Liberia. He didn't get a damn for a single Liberian that is born today. Every older people who have lived a longer life, they have seen the bad things. The good, the bad, the worst, and the ugly. They have seen it. Parker should be the one to be calling for a fair and open democratic process. But here you go. He's sitting down there, and because of his own selfish ego, he taking side with people who destroy the country. Is you somebody for Booker to go and sit next to? Is you somewhere? You who have been sanctioned by the United Nations, the American government, and Booker they're taking side with him to derail our democratic process. And many of you guys sitting down there and watching this thing happening. And not nobody. What if it was we who had done such a thing? What you think a lot more people will be doing? No, lot more guys, and what you think they'll be doing? Oh, we are saying you're going to the CPP, you're going to represent this. But when it comes to you, there is no Liberia centricity. Being centric and being Liberia centric is to put the core values of things that we all consider to be our national pride. That's what centricity is. So when you hear the African Americans say, I want to be more Afrocentric, I believe in Afrocentricity, the African Americans are telling you in this country. Now, they dress like African, they wear the beads because they are African, and they believe in what we Africans are neglecting every day. And that's what they mean by Afrocentricity. Take that idea. Let us be Liberia-centric. What are the core values that we judge things on? If we have a political party that is operating in the framework of democracy, what are the principles of democracy? Total representation, equality, justice, and equity. Those are the four principal things we have. So when it comes to equality, when it comes to total representation, what Joseph Booker did over there, is it right to communists? Because there are people in Liberia who are looking up to communists too. What Joseph Booker, Nomli Kanga, they see Nomli Kanga here. Let me talk about her a little bit here. Charles Walker Bronsky, while he was alive, he challenged Joseph Booker and told us on front page. That transcript is still online. Go and Google it. Charles Bronsky criticized Booker for 9 million. Just type that phrase in. Charles Walker Bronsky of the Liberty Party, may his soul rest in peace, came up with a long piece, a 2-page document, explaining how Joseph Booker maintained a $9 million in his office, even up to the Ebola era. And his party did not support that idea. And Joseph Booker never backed down on that. And Nomli Kanga today sitting over there and praising Joseph Booker. Where is the party value that you stand by? Republican in America will say we should allow Bible to be preached in the school, in public school. Democrats are saying no. That the two-party philosophy. Which one do you believe in? Whatever Charles Walker Bronsky tried to bring to that party called Liberty, Nomli Kanga dumped everything yesterday. Standing over there and praising Booker. There are times that they must come to a point where they must agree on certain value within the party. The country is ruined. Liberia is being destroyed mainly by the people in the diaspora. Every bad thing that happened to Liberia, the diasporan Liberians who have been engaged are the ones who destroying that country. Look at the other one they call Alari Tokpa. Alari Tokpa is now sitting in Minnesota there, right? But But back in the days, they were in Liberia passing around making fool out of our young brothers and sisters who are now parents today. But what happened in Laritoba? The mess he created in Liberia, he don't have the means to go there now. Not because he don't have money to go to Liberia. When I mean means, there is no good health system for his age right now. There is no retirement fund. Guess what he's sitting now? He's sitting now in Minnesota there now, depending on people who fought for equal justice in the country. Everybody of age and in age should benefit. He's now getting benefit from the American government. He's now getting benefit from the state of Minnesota. But this is the men who are in Liberia, convincing people for the wrong reason. But because their intent was only for themselves, they ran away and came here. And do you think that mindset is going to be over? You wait. You will have your own commentary after the news. These guys then who are telling you today, you do this, you do this. You need to ask yourself, where are they living? And where am I living? What guarantee do they have if things go wrong? And what guarantee do I have when things go wrong on the ground here? How many children do I have? How many of them in school right now? And where are their children? Those guys are making the noise behind. Where are their children? I will tell you, my children in America here. My children in America here. Maybe they might not tell you where their children are. I'm telling you, my children in America here. But I'm here telling you the truth. That if anything go down in Liberia, I will not feel it. But what I'm doing here is I'm telling you the truth that those guys are telling you and leading you in the wrong direction. The Ure you see over there, Ure's daughter is in Canada going to school right now. And he knows how to play his card very well. When we were in Liberia in the 90s, when the war started, Tida Ure were in America going to school. When the war subsided, Tida Ure gone back. Today, Ure is back again, making ass out of you guys on the ground. Wherein his other daughter is going to school. Don't you think you or your daughter should be going to school as well? Where are Boka children? Anyone in our country there and make all that noise. Beyond Samuel Kayando in America here. When the war was raging here, did you see Konosio Robert Salif? Did you ever hear any Konosio Robert Salif? No. Robert Salif was in North Carolina sitting down there. All children. But they were using you guys. Aldo was the bad man. And they put your heads together. But when the war ended and Eddie took office, the CEO Robert said he never saw. He came and went straight over Knockout. And now he fucked Knockout up. He's not even living in the country now. He's living in Ghana. Have we learned our lesson? We haven't learned our lesson yet. The fundamental original sin of every country is illiteracy. But every country, including the great United States we have lived and continue to live, they came up with a strategy that the original sin of all countries on the face of the planet is illiteracy. But how do we fight it? The American policymakers got together and they said, one of the ways that we should fight illiteracy is to make sure that every child, before you reach the age of 18, you must be a high school graduate. 12 years of mandatory education will help to reduce the illiteracy in America. Liberia said 1847. They even make original sin the worst. There is no educational policy in our country that will compel your child that he or she not in school. You will be held accountable. You will be held accountable. But some people enjoy the pleasure. That's why today in America, you will not find Obama child going to Europe to go to school. It will be by choice. You will not find Donald Trump grandchildren going to school abroad. It will be by choice. You will not find anybody in America here because the people believe in their country. They believe in their country. But all our political activists, their children in America, even the new ones, they came here and born their children and live in America here. But they're telling you guys, do you think about refugee? I think about refugee all the time. I'm concerned right now about the guy who is 50 years old in refugee that woke up today. I don't even know who is his representative and what hope does he or she have for the next 5 years to come. Do you think about that? Do you have that empathy? Do you really have that empathy? And this is where I believe that Cummins need to focus. We need a focus group. By the way, speaking about focus group, I'm putting out the invitation to every meaningful Liberian. I'm trying to establish a focus group. It's not going to be a political focus group, but we will be discussing political issues that have the propensity to affect the life of your relative back home. Well, we sit down on Zoom or whatever means, whether it Teams, I don't know whether Teams is utilized in the public domain today. But I would like to use Teams because I love Teams. Well, we can sit on Facebook and begin to discuss these guys. What is Boka objective? What has Boka achieved over the year that he can translate today that would make sense to us? What Weir has done for the year he been there. And how do you know? How has it impacted the life of the people? How can a man who in the diaspora want to convince you when he is living his life and gaining more opportunity of his life, but he telling you to do the wrong thing in Liberia? How can that work? When we have seen past advocates who went and risked their lives, Steve Biko in South Africa, Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Those people made the greatest sacrifices in our country. But you got Liberian advocates sitting abroad. Their children going to school. Tomorrow is school. They have the choice to be online or they have the choice to be in person. They got Joe Biden coming out and telling them every employer, every school should make sure they protect the kids. But they will get up in the morning, in the afternoon, and come and bullshit on Facebook and tell you, you got a guy who stole $45,000 and sitting down in North Carolina and nothing happened to him. But he's sitting there and thousands of people watching him. Where is our Liberia centricity? Until we define who we want to be as a country and people. What are the core values that nobody should be above, but everybody should be below that? We are going nowhere. We'll only become a country of individual and personal attachment to. That's how we're going to be. I'm a citizen. I stay with the CDC. I don't have no core value that Liberia will be measuring me by. I'm a unity party man. I don't have no value. If we don't have any common denominator of how we do things, my friend, you can have all the big shoulders. Some of us been around for a very long time. We saw the Louis Y. We saw the Martin Brown. We saw the RAW. We saw the Quincy T. We saw all the people in Liberia that used to pull crowd. We have seen it before. We've been there and done that. It didn't pay no dividend. It didn't take Liberia 1 inch from the problem we have. So today, in the modern era of technology, you're sitting there on Facebook. The year started a few months ago. This is the 9th month. How many times have you not sat down on Facebook? What change have you seen in the country when Boka is coming up and trying to rewrite our democracy by not giving full participation with transparency and equality and total representation? And some of you guys say, oh, Boka did, Boka this. You know one of the reasons why you guys have an advantage? Because you live in other people's countries and you don't feel what the other people on the ground feel. You guys used to be wearing one shoe, one slipper, one brief, one pants, one skirt, one blouse. Today, you got multiple of them today. And you don't think about days. You used to have one thing. You don't think about those days. That other people will come right in that same footstep. But how do you prevent it from happening? Once you leapfrog to where you are now, case closed, yada, 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 I don't give a damn, I'm here today. That's the kind of people we want to be. Is that the kind of people we want to be? I am calling on Alexander Cummins. I'm not an ANC person. I, J. Randy, grew up in Liberia, born in Nima County, parent from Lower Grand Judah that is now considered to be refugee. I live in a swamp. I worked to earn my education in Liberia. I suffered to come in the country. I came here on a student scholarship because I know what it means when that country system did not give me the opportunity. I wasn't born with silver spoon. I came here with a visa to go to school. And I know exactly what it means to live in a society that is so gave a lot of people disadvantaged opportunity. Few got opportunity, the majority have less. So when I see things happening to any individual, I come in that position. Whether it's Joe Weir being insulted, I will come and defend Joe Weir. But if Joe Weir does the wrong thing, I will criticize him. Whether it is Cummins being the wrong person and Cummins is doing the wrong thing, I will come here and talk to Cummins and criticize Cummins. But when Cummins is being taken advantage of because of him not subscribing or abiding by the wrong things that people are doing, I will come here. So I will say this to Cummins people. As a political analyst, as a strategist, Cummins, you need to have all the list of problems in our country identified. You need to design a solution to the problem and the direction you want to take the country. Your first implementation phase is to establish a team coming, T-E-A-M, teams coming across the 15 counties. Team coming River G, team coming Maryland, teams coming Mosorado, teams coming River Cess, teams coming Cape Man, teams coming Bapolu, Lofa, and begin to feed those three components: the problem, the solution, and the direction you want to take the country. Continue to pump those things to the people. By the time election time comes in 2023, your message will be saturated, and you just wait to see how it's going to play out. That way, you will defeat the Unity Party people. That way, you will challenge CDC to be a force to reckon with. And should the election go to second round, your commodity will go up high. You been in corporate. You know what to do to make your value go up high. You know what to do. This is an open advice. It's free. Take it from me. Establish a salary location across the 15 counties. Make sure those who are on the ground are actually using everything it takes to propagate your message. Utilize social media. Utilize the local radio station. Get people on the ground. Work with them. Engage them. Back in the day, we used to have cool where people go together and bread farm. Join them. If anybody is in any organization across the county, put something in it, put little share in it, and let them get to see. I know the government and some of those guys will see my idea here, but it's free for them. And that's why I don't run behind them for any damn thing. Because I'm too damn good, and I'll praise myself for that. Because they're not thinking about the idea right now. So Cummins, take those ideas, but I want you to be independent. Mr. Cummins, I want you to be independent. Whatever you do not go back to those guys. They didn't love you from day one. They will never love you. If they invite you, it's to finally destroy you up. You know, you can harm somebody, but when that person escape, they stand a greater chance of surviving. But when you get caught again, whatever they didn't do to you for the first time, they will end up doing it to you for the last time. So guys, I want to say a big thank you to you guys for this morning. We'll be back here this evening for the video to have more detailed conversation here. Again, I'm not here as a supporter of ANC. I believe in Liberia centricity. I believe in the core values that we all, from different political parties, should measure ourselves. Check in America here. When you move in a new community, don't you want to know about people who are child molesters? Check in America here. When you go to the bank, you stand to the back of the line. These are societal core values and principles that America has established that everybody should follow. If you think that Joe Weah is not the better person, Joe Bucker, and you want to represent your party that is requesting for a representation, and you said the people nominated me, and we don't know who the people are, and then Mo Ali coming out and say, oh, he don't hold anybody accountable for XYZ. Then what kind of character is that party? What kind of character is that party? You see, the characteristic of every partisan should demonstrate and continue to show what value that party represents. In my opinion, I'm sorry to say this, but the people in the Unity Party, they got no good character. There is nothing you can measure them by to see any good coming out of them. Same thing that the CDC people too. The CDC people, the United Party people, and some of the ANC people, they are all of the same characteristic. There is no split difference between them. They all are the same equal wavelength. But it is a work in progress, and it can only be changed by the heads of each institution. Because the institution set the basic policy. Behavior cannot be changed, but behavior can be controlled and sometimes managed under the policies and rules that we put in place. Nobody can change anybody's behavior. So guys, thank you so much. This is a free advice for people at the ANC. Like I said, I am a consultant on Facebook. I gave Cummins this recommendation. Yesterday I advised him. Today I'm giving him a recommendation. about the things coming. If they need detail of how things should be done, then you have to pay me now. Yes, you have to pay me. Yes, you have to pay me. CDC going out there and giving people $20,000. Other people giving people $20,000. You have to give me my part of money too. I have to keep my lights on. So I can only give you. You know, I'm a salesman. I tell you that the car is for the price. But if you need to do the detail, they come, we sit down, we talk about it. There's nothing free. I'm paying what I own. So the focus group will help to expose the minds of the Liberian people to make a better choice. But today I came here because of the disadvantage that have been thrown Cummings' way. And I want to make sure that Cummings understand that I really don't hate him as a human being. I just dislike the way those around him have been ill-advising him and misleading him and misguiding him. And that's where we are today. Yes, that's where we are today. I understand, LRB guy, there's nothing free. Yes, I understand. But there's certain thing in my heart sometimes that hate me that I have to come here. So that things coming strategy is the way that he should go. But y'all watch. They will start stealing those strategy and will try to perform. They will try to perfect it. I already said it. Teams, Cummings, take over the 15 county, put in place a satellite of people to start to preach your message. Let your central message be about the problem, how you're going to solve it, and what direction you want. From the debate to engaging the people in town hall or on the road, let that message be on the list of all ANC members. That will make you a valuable asset because your goal should be about getting to the second round, if not winning that election, getting to the second round. And when they see whether you come second or first in our election, if we are is not defeated in the first round, you will become a valuable asset. All right. So thank you guys so much. Brother Prince, I support that. Consistency come with a price. Yes. Yes. So I want to remain in the middle here. Yes, I want to remain in the middle here. Yeah, because I have learned my lesson. America has taught me that whatever happens to you, take a lesson learned. Yesterday, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of 9/11, if I'm not wrong. There were lessons learned from that experience, and there have been measures that have been put in place. And that's what America has taught me. Lesson learned. I learned from CDC. I learned from all these guys. How many of you guys were surprised? Y'all have seen video upon video of me talking for CDC government, right? But it is being alleged that they're going somewhere and giving somebody $20,000 that don't talk shit but bullshit. So it's time to pay into the system. So solution, y'all go tell your people, because my discussion on Facebook will not be about the positive thing about CDC. I have done my part. Wherever the government falls short, will come and critique the weaknesses of the government. It will get under your skin, but that's the way. Because you're not improving in that area, and we'll come in that area and we'll expose those areas very well. So, Unity Party, you need to reconsider yourself. You need to set the record straight. You've been around for a very long time. I'm not against Yuri because he's an individual that I don't like. I love Yuri as an individual. I would like to meet him someday. But what I dislike about him is the way he conducts himself. He always set aside the good thing for his family and himself, but he wants to use the destructive things to destroy our people. Yuri hasn't learned his lesson about what he and Charles did and all did to that country. If he had learned that lesson, Yuri will start to make better decisions, say good things, that people will start to forget about the bad thing he did, and will start to add on to the good thing he's doing. But you will keep going back to the worst thing he's doing and bringing back old picture. Do you believe that? Do you believe that nonsense? What is that? What is the nonsense? Melvin. Melvin is one of my guys here. He asked a question. Melvin, what is the nonsense? Can you be specific with the nonsense? Yeah. Okay. Prince said, what nonsense? Yeah. So, Melvin, answer that question so I can go. I don't want to leave you hanging in the balance here. You talk about nonsense. What is the nonsense? Because I mean, we want to know. So can you hurry up quick? Because I have to leave now. I mean, I'm only here for 1 hour. So we'll give you a few seconds to tap all the question about the nonsense. Don't keep us in suspense. All right? So just tap that up. All right. He said that the government paying $1,000. Well, let me tell you this, my brother. Let me tell you this. To be honest with you, if you put me on the scale about that $1,000, let me give you the first reason here. Kevin Hassan, in how much I defended him about how people were insulting his child, When Kel Hassan will ask that question, because somebody sent me that video. When Menepago Dumont, and let me tell you about Menepago Dumont and Kanyo Bala heavily campaigned for CDC during the election season, the pre-election season. And for some reason, as always, CDC went and bent him over and kicked into the curve. So he understands the fabric of how things move within CDC. You got to know the character you're talking about before you doubt anything. So let me hear who Menepago Dumont is. He worked and campaigned heavily for the CDC. So he know how things move within the CDC. Now, when it comes to what he said, I am also challenging him as well. If Menepago Dumont, in his possession, still got that transcript that money will move to Kev Hassan, I trust the soul, but I have to verify it. And verification means he got to provide it. Like he put it on Facebook. But Kev Hassan, as dumb as he looked, and I'm sorry to say this, when he was asked that question, he kept quiet. He couldn't say anything. He couldn't even challenge the man to say, post the result, post what you got, so the people can say, so the people can see it. But he kept pressing the man to answer a question. When you see people behaving like that, it will give you a reasonable and articulable reason or suspicion to believe that something is going on. So the RSA, the reasonable, suspicious, and articulated reason that he did not say anything like that, I don't think he's dumb enough not to think that somebody is trying to put him under the bus. While it is true that it's not 100%, Kev Hassan kept quiet and go back to that video and never challenged that. When the people came here and said, oh, Mr. Toy gave me $22,000, what did I tell you guys? That I called Mr. Toy and invited him on my show to come and tell the Liberian people whether he gave me $22,000. He declined that. And I posted a picture of him and myself and said, Mr. Toy, tell the people where you gave me this money here. And then I challenged those who came up with the accusation to post the information so that I can go and start to pull all my bank records to see where any money was deposited. When you put those things out there, then you're showing transparency of your neutrality that the people trying to implicate you on. Kev Hassan kept quiet over them. In the minds of the skeptics, especially those that don't like him, they will believe it because he didn't take a stand. So if you ask me, I believe everything, but it must be verified. Until Kev Hassan can come out and say that he didn't receive any money, I will still believe that he got something from that. What is the proof of the $20,000? Yes, he did not receive it. The burden is on Menepago Dumont. At the same time, the explanation is also on Kev Hassan. It's not what you say, but it's what Kev Hassan did in his attitude. Okay? I don't think you should run with that story until you can authenticate. That's why I'm saying believe the source, but verify it. I am responding to Kev Hassan's behavior. The fact that somebody accusing you. Let me tell you this. Let me give you the perfect example. If somebody accuses you of raping or touching them inappropriately, and the police shows up, and the person saying, that person touched me. When you keep quiet, even though you're invoking your Fifth Amendment right, do you think people are not going to have suspicion about your behavior? Why do you think God gave all the mouth? It's for us to speak out. When people say silent me, the one Labrador will say silent me, consent. The American will say silent me, consent. Silent me, consent. The fact that he never said anything about that, it creates a reasonable suspicion of his behavior. And he need to clean it up. I'm not holding him guilty here. The government itself need to come out, because when people start accusing the government, the spokesman of the government need to come out also to say no. We have no connection to what people say out there. But if the government keep quiet, then it also consent. You see, communication is key to providing transparency. The CC government is very, very poor at communicating things. They forget to know that there are Liberians out here that don't like that government. And one of the ways they can fight against this misinformation or disinformation is to be vocal. Kev Hassan sat over there and said nothing. But he represented the government most of the time on that show, right? And when they're asking him questions and he cannot say things, what do you think is going to go in the mouth of the people? Let us keep that discussion for another time. All right? Until then, you guys have a blessed day. God bless you guys. I will be back here late today to bring a video aspect of another program. Again, thank you guys so much. This has been J. Randy. Have yourself a pleasant day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you guys there. Please hit that like button on our video. By the way, we have the J. Randy, how do you call it? We have the J. Randy Free Voice Radio. It is online. Very soon, we are tapped into YouTube now. So the YouTube channel, if you want to find me, it's called the J. Randy Free Voice. I think the Free Voice. That's how you can search for that. So we are going to the YouTube 24-hour grace period because it's a newly established account that I just established yesterday and activated it today. Through my suggestion to share with him, and I would like you guys to be part of this suggestion because it's going to be kept into with them or your team. Be able to come up with a 3 years vision plan for that ministry. 3 year vision plan for that ministry. The reason for doing that is to effect changes. That also goes to your directors. Whoever you're going to appoint as a director should also be able to come up with a 3 year plan to effect that agency performance. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I'm an analyst. President Johnson's study became a massive failure, which caused Booker to lose this election